Welcome back to the party, everybody. I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming out to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, you can head on over to theindianjesus.com for your very own official Indian Jesus official merch. You can also scroll right below this video here and hit that join button. For only $2.99 a month, you can become a member, and we've got all these awesome perks. Of course, the Discord server is absolutely free to join, but that only has our free chat and a couple of channels. Definitely got awesome conversations going all through the day. But if you become a member after every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday live stream, we go in to the voice channel for an after party where we don't got to worry about the YouTube censors. You're not stuck behind your keyboard. You are on screen with me and everybody else. You can come if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it is a good old time. Come and join us. All right. So this is going to be an interesting one, guys. I would love if there was more stuff out there that covered the stuff that we talked about that wasn't coming from the same sources, but there isn't. So last week, we go back to the culture war, and they had a very interesting conversation. And I thought instead of just going straight from the beginning and seeing as far as we made it, I went through it and picked out the most important parts. And a lot going on here between the Tradwife and Tradlife type thing. Crowder and his divorce, Nala Ray and people like the Crucible. His wife is actually on the panel. So a lot of stuff to get into, but starting off with the Steven Crowder thing and how it seemed a little odd that Pearl was fighting so hard on behalf of Steven Crowder, even though nobody had very much information.
So I had a question.
As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
With the Crowder case, I told you I was going to bring this up. Why, you said on stream there's some information behind the scenes, but if you're willing to say, this vague stuff, like what is it?
So officially my stance is, aside from what I've already said, Crowder and I currently work for, and he used to work for Blaze TV. We do actually have, some NDAs and non-disparagement, so I will not be commenting further. And I know that's frustrating, but that's why I'm not.
But then why did you make
on Crowder side?
Yeah, but why did you make like 5 videos on it if you're going to say now I can't comment?
Oh, I can't comment on what is not publicly available.
Okay.
I can talk about what publicly is out there.
Okay. So publicly, Hillary on video said he wasn't abusive. Why was that not reported on?
About him not being abusive?
Yeah, it was on video.
I mean, I have problems with
you
the
had
way
something where you alluded in your video on him that he was abusive after you played the clip of him talking to his wife. So my question is, if you're going to report on that, why did you not report on the video of her saying he wasn't?
Fair. He wasn't abusive. Which video you're talking about? It was the one that I recently did with Jared.
It was not the one where you did with Jared. I'm saying there was video of Hillary Crowder saying that Steven was not abusive, and all of the conservatives were super willing to throw him under the bus the last year, make a ton of money off.
I didn't see that. Where's that from? That she actually said that?
Off of it, except for Tim.
Was I the only one?
You were the only one who I thought was fair. I really did. I have never been so disappointed in conservatives because
with Steven, and I think with Steven, like if it were just his divorce, wouldn't have talked about it, but he is someone who's in this industry who has a pattern of basically blowing up personal relationships.
Yep. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party. So Pearl ain't making the best decisions for her image out here. No, she is not. But I'm glad that it's not another man. But it's Lauren Chen. It's someone we trust to actually go at her and hold her to account. And I found it very interesting. But welcome to the party. We also got Nick Luchetti in the building. Welcome to Popcorn Burner Popcorn account. Almost got it mixed up. So I thought Pearl and Rachel made better arguments. Lauren has default feminist vibes. Interesting. Shout out to Valeria. There's an audio clip where she said Steven wasn't physically abusive. She didn't say not abusive. Okay, so yeah, that's a an interesting detail we got to pay attention to. We also got Tom Brokaw in the building. Welcome to the party. So at one point, Chen maneuvers Pearl into admitting that maybe what? Well, we gonna get there. And we also got John in the building. Welcome from South Carolina. Welcome to the party, guys. Good to see ya. All right, let's jump back right in here. And do not forget to hit that poll. The poll reads, is Tradwife the way to go? And it's just yes, no, or if you don't know what it means, then I don't know what it means. So yes, no, or I don't know.
And I think
right, but that doesn't make him an abuser, right? You can be an asshole, but that doesn't make you abusive.
I definitely don't think he's like physically abusive or anything like that.
Well, yeah, but you alluded that he was like you said that he was abusing his wife in that clip. So if she has a clip that says, "Hey, he's not," I would think, "Oh wow, all the conservatives, you guys would be the first to report," except for Tim.
Yeah, good. I think I'm right with you, Quantek. It either is she really, really, really hates women, or she is just really great at pretending that she hates women. But again, Lauren brings that up to her directly. We'll get to that later. I just wanted to get to the meat, Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. Thompson Pearl is a clever grifter. She knows her audience and what kind of rage induces clicks. Yep. Once again, her angry tweets recently really make me think it's a grift. Clickbait due to outrage on whatever her side. Indeed. And in case I forgot to remind you guys, if you are not here for me and you just want to watch this, the link is in the description. I talk a lot. That is why I made a YouTube channel. Tom said, I assure you in 50 years, she will not be saying women shouldn't vote. Yeah, no, I mean, come on. Burns, any Lauren.
Conservatives, you guys would be the first to report, except for Tim. He was the only one who did, and it's like you were willing to make video.
Well, if are you asking like the ring cam footage about him?
No, it was a video of his wife in court, and she said he was not abusive. This is on camera. The nanny also testified not abusive.
I think my video specifically was about the nanny footage, which to tell your spouse that you do not love them, I do think that's emotionally abusive.
Because I wouldn't say that's emotionally abusive, and because he says you do not show me love, and what he was referring to in the video, if you really listen, pay attention, and there was clip cut out, was that she was not showing him love because she didn't listen to him. And it's like Tradwives. Why wasn't the question? Why didn't you walk the dog like you were told?
Yeah.
That's a good point. If you really are going so hard, remember there was the one dude, I don't even remember who he is, but he was on the whatever podcast, and they were talking about divorce, and they're talking about, well, what if the guy's actually, sticking around or whatever, and the guy said something like endure. And so, if that's your mentality, then asking why didn't she just walk the dog when her husband told her that she should? Obviously, I don't subscribe to that, but someone like Steven Crowder absolutely would.
Tradwives. Why wasn't the question? Why didn't you walk the dog like you were told?
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with the whole Steven Crowder situation that I'm just not going to comment on publicly.
But you were willing to publicly make video after video after video
about what was publicly available.
So is the nanny footage. So is why don't?
Quick question. Isn't it confirmed that I could be wrong about this, that Crowder's wife deleted a bunch of footage from
over 100. That's important, you would think.
Yeah, that's conservative. So actually, Justice Warrior did this whole breakdown about it. That's something that Crowder's team is alleging, but I don't know if the court itself has verified or backed it up at this point.
I'll tell you why I knew it was full of shit when I first heard it, because I've interviewed so many men that have gone through the same exact thing. And what women do is they poison the well for years. So they'll go around to all of his friends and drop little tidbits of abuse. Now, the common ones are emotional abuse, physical abuse. Some throw in the pedo accusation. That's devastating to men.
That's horrible. If I don't care what you're going through, if you're going to put that kind of accusation on a man, you deserve to go to jail. Shout out to the Beavis frequency. Welcome to the party. Said Rachel Wilson is so trad. She's on her third baby daddy, because it's like trad cubed or something. I was not familiar with that. Obviously, I'm more familiar with Pearl and Lauren, but the other two women there, Rachel Wilson and what is the other one's name? I forget. It's in the description somewhere. But welcome the Beavis frequency to the party. Tom said, have any of the women speaking or discussed to claim to be a Tradwife, or do they just claim to be women with some conservative opinions? They aren't obligated to this Tradwife standard. That is a very good point, and it has a lot to do with the like recently, Lauren Southern came back on the scene after being in supposedly trad life type of environment, and she really didn't like it. And I mean, I don't know what's going on, but according to her, it was a bad situation for all of the reasons that we say in the modern day, that maybe it shouldn't just be, the man decides, end of story. Maybe it's, yes, there should be traditional gender roles, but we're equals. We live in America in 2024. Valeria says, drinking game, drink every time. Pearl says, I've interviewed a thousand number of people, except don't, because you will die. Well, we can certainly try. Dilly to that. It's I like Lauren. I like Lauren. So maybe we're gonna disagree tonight, but that is all right. Andrew Wilson. That is the Crucible, the guy that we were just covering when he made himself look stupid in front of Vosh. Yikes is right. All right, what we got here?
Emotional abuse, physical abuse. Some throw in the pedo accusation. That's devastating to men. That's a devastating one. They'll say it about their family. So they'll do this for years. Then when they come out and
that's the thing, is that again, Pearl has a lot. She's good at, again, as Gonzaga was saying, it's hard to tell if she just has some really bad ideologies but some good points, or if she's very, very good at throwing out a point in the most unpalatable way, so then she can kind of walk it back without actually taking her words back.
Devastating one. They'll say it about their family. So they'll do this for years. Then when they come out and say he's abusive, they have all of these people ready to back them up in white knight. And then typically what you get is an out of context clip that they throw out there. And so I knew what was happening.
I saw that. I got to check it out. Well, I mean, I saw that they did that, but I got to check that out.
When I first saw the video.
And you can tell from her Twitter that she's obviously a crazy woman. And I personally think emotional abuse is a myth. I know you said
I agree with you
seem to have a different perspective. Would you think?
So Rachel Wilson is the blonde one, right? And then what was the other one's name? I don't know. I like the other one. She's cute.
Think emotional abuse is a valid reason to have a divorce if you support no fault divorce?
No, but something can be unacceptable behavior though, still within a marriage. Absolutely.
But who are you to tell a man how to speak to his wife in his house? Isn't that out of order?
I mean, you do that all the time. You call other men simps all the time.
But I don't tell them how to talk to their wife. That's your business.
Like I was saying, sometimes she makes a good point. If this is your ideology, Christian this and Christian that and Christian that, and you just sat in front of the Crucible, this dude. You just sat in front of Andrew Wilson and said that it made sense that secular people should not be allowed to procreate. So are you Christian or not? Are you Christian or not?
You call other men simps all the time.
But I don't tell them how to talk to their wife. That's your business.
That is absolutely not true.
Okay,
there are
name it. Go ahead.
For sure. There are tons of times where there will be actual men in your comments saying, so when I disagree, and you call them simps.
When I say simps, it typically means out of order. So typically when I say that, I'm referring to a pattern of behavior where they're putting women on a pedestal. That's typically what I'm describing.
So we'll go back to that in a second. So Quantek, I think, makes a good point that it's strange that Pearl only interviews men and the worst types of women. Seems like she wouldn't have any Tradwives on because she'd be challenged and outgunned and outthought. So I think maybe that's fair, but we also have to remember that it's not a Tradwife characteristic to want to debate anything. To get on camera and to be in front of cameras and debate, that's not really, what we would consider. Not saying that a traditional wife couldn't or wouldn't do that, but it makes sense why we don't see that. It makes sense. It seems just to be the best girl in the room at all times. Pearl is so destined for perpetual spinsterdom. Oof. He's right. When you're right, you're right.
To a pattern of behavior where they're putting women on a pedestal. That's typically what I'm describing.
But you'll say that about
this is
specific men
we're going to the what, but we're going to the what about. You're changing the topic.
No,
who
this
are
is
you?
the same topic.
No. It's a different because
It's the same topic.
my original question is, who are you to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his home?
Well, I don't.
Do you think you should be able to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his house?
I think that.
So I want to throw this to you guys. I want to throw this to you guys that so should Lauren have an opinion on how a man speaks to his wife in their marital home? Should I typo there, but you get it. So this is what Pearl's arguing is, according to what you believe, you have no right to tell Steven Crowder how he should speak to his wife at all, because that's their marriage. It's his household. And she was talking about biblical patriarchy and that the man is the head of the household and all that stuff. Brenda's like, hell no.
Well, I don't.
Do you think you should be able to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his house?
I think that men should conduct themselves with biblical standards when it comes to.
No. But answer my question. Do you think it's your place to tell men how to talk to their wives in their home? Answer yes or no.
I think it is perfectly reasonable to say that a man should hold himself to a Christian standard in the home.
Okay, so you do think it's your place, and this is what I mean when I say a lot of conservative women aren't really conservative.
It's true. What
And so let's there's a lot there. And so Pearl is right there under the ideology that you espouse that, and again, we'll get to an earlier part, but Lauren keeps saying this phrase, biblical patriarchy. Pearl, now I don't think that it's just because a man is married to a woman that he can do whatever he wants. I don't subscribe to that, but I don't claim to subscribe to that. But Lauren does. So do a lot of other conservatives that Pearl is calling out here. So again, I don't necessarily agree that you should be able to behave that way. And it seems like neither does Lauren. But that is exactly the point, is that, okay, then you're not really that Christian, are you?
Reasonable to say that a man should hold himself to a Christian standard in the home.
Okay, so you do think it's your place. And this is what I mean when I say a lot of conservative women aren't really conservative.
It's true. What it ends up being is woman sad, man mean. Woman sad, man bad.
Because you're first from a biblical point of view, you are supposed to be obedient to your husband in all things. So before conservative women will talk about the disobedience, their first thing is their tone.
Yes, the tone policing.
That's
super
before,
out of control.
But they never. And I can show this because there is video after video after video. Not a single conservative woman said, "Oh, hey, she didn't listen to her husband." Mm-hmm. Not one. That's crazy to me. And then we want to say, like, men go get married to conservative women. Most of them aren't really conservative.
Let's bring up the Lauren Southern story, because I think this was actually a big component of Lauren's story.
So Valeria said, no, Pearl's understanding of Christianity is just wrong. People can call others out. In fact, Christians are obligated to do it when they see someone doing something wrong. And I agree that this is the correct position. But the fact that Lauren was not in her mind to say this is very kind of exposes her lack of understanding of Christianity. And so her wanting to stick to this idea that because of Christianity, she can't call other people out, even though she knows in her head that that shouldn't be in conflict. But the way that the question is presented in the context of this biblical patriarchy, she's already said that the man should be the head of the household. Now she's speaking out of the other side of her mouth. So there's a lot going on. Burner Popcorn Account said, I think the problem is that many Tradwife types would never do that type of media or put themselves online publicly. She had a really tough time recruiting the normie Tradwives. Completely agree. John said, what is the point of dating? I mean, it used to be marriage. I don't know anymore. It seems like just to have somebody to fuck, I guess. I don't know. John said, this should have been argued out before marriage. What should have been argued out before marriage?
Bring up the Lauren Southern story, because I think this was actually a big component of Lauren's story. This article was written, I think it was Unheard. It was written by a woman who got divorced. And in the story, I think one of the issues was Lauren realizing that just being this obedient, good wife to this man wasn't working. He kept threatening to divorce her, and it seemed like nothing was working.
So I don't remember like all the details, but if we are to believe Lauren Southern, which for the purposes of the conversation, it makes enough sense academically for us to take her at her word, whether or not it is true. So she basically gave a pretty typical type of story where she gave up her work and moved in with the husband, became the Tradwife, and then he slowly and systematically started isolating her, cutting people off, and so she had no way to exist except under his boot. How realistic, how honest is that? I don't know. I'm just relaying what she said to everyone publicly.
That was her. I believe
that's her side of the story.
For sure.
And so I doubt it.
But
You were just, okay, let me get this straight.
Should. Pearl really hates this word should. That'll come up later. Should.
Okay. So nobody asked question. You were this perfect angel. You were a perfect angel. All you did was listen to your husband, and then he threatened to divorce you all the time. Did you guys hear these stories? You believe this? Come on.
But that's why I mentioned biblical patriarchy. Lauren talks about how even before they were married, he would do things like leave for days on end, like not talk to her. There were red flags.
Why did he leave? And that's what we never talk about. A lot of times when men leave, it is because
I'll believe it when I see it. Her last relationship was some. All right, you know what? We're not going to attack people's looks that at least aren't on the screen. We'll take her word for it. We'll take her word for it.
He leave, and that
I get easily triggered by Pearl. I mean, even when I agree with her, she just triggers me. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party. Good to see you guys. If you're not already, please do hit that like button. It is so quick, so free, so easy, and it helps out so very, very much. Thank you.
That's what we never talk about. A lot of times when men leave, it is because there is a negative behavior that we don't talk about. Why? For example, what if she cheated? I'm not saying she did. I don't know. What if she cheated?
I agree, Tom. So I think Chen has insider knowledge on how Crowder is a jerk, and that informs her opinion, but she can't reveal all the dirt due to the NDA. That's absolutely some aspect of this. I don't know how much is in that insider knowledge, but absolutely there's a part of that. Absolutely. Like, oh God, it's Pearl again. Burn says, I fuck with Pearl. She's all right in my book. I love how much she triggers everyone. Well, and that's the thing. It's if she was triggering people and then turning that into a fruitful conversation, then it would be very different. But I kind of feel like she just does it for engagement and views and clicks and stuff like that. I don't know how much it really is to help anyone.
That be an acceptable reason for him to leave for 3 days?
I know, but
we don't know.
Point
even
if that is a red
she
flag,
gets an article.
you have a responsibility as a woman to choose
Sure.
to choose a strong leader for yourself. So if you're going into this 4 months and you're already seeing red flags, it's not trad to say, I will marry him anyway. Like, I've not seen Christian dating accounts say, ignore all the red flags.
Are they a Christian couple though?
I think
Well, I mean, they're very, very Christian, but real quick, let's give a shout out to so far the comment of the night. Pearl says she's currently in a relationship. They said having regular foot fungus appointments is technically a relationship, but I don't think Pearl and Dr. Scholes is smashing. Dilly to that. Oh my goodness. Good one. Burns says, pretty obvious Crowder is an asshole, but I have doubts on the allegations from Hillary and Jared. Yeah, and this is why it's frustrating to see how much is at stake and why Crowder's still hanging on to the NDAs. Because at this point, if the only reason for him to hang on the NDAs is that there's more things that would make him look even worse. Because otherwise, why didn't he be like, all right, you're out of your NDA, say whatever you want. I like, get this heat off of me. Because there's a lot of negative intention coming from the fact that there is secrecy. So if we could actually understand what is what are the details, and it's good for Crowder, then wouldn't he want that information out there? Shout out to Monolithic Ethos. Good to see you. Welcome to the party. Said if it's not Lauren's place to tell men how to speak to their wives, would that mean that it's not Pearl's place to tell women not to divorce their husbands? Oof. I think you make a good point, sir. Welcome to the party. Yeah, and I mean, again, we have to look at this in the context of are you practicing what you preach? Because Pearl doesn't claim to be some, Tradwife Christian girl, whereas some other people do. Burns said that fourth girl that doesn't talk much, Isabella Moody. There we go. She had pretty good takes. She recently had some scandal involving her kids saying the N-word. Oh, come on. We can't be doing that. We can't be doing that.
The red flag.
Are they a Christian couple though?
I think he is.
Is she Christian?
Catholic.
Like, what are we?
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a question. If you're Steven Crowder and you talk so much about Christianity, then this shouldn't be a question.
So, but my point is that I like Lauren, but she was kind of portraying as this is why my trad relationship didn't work out. I don't think it was a trad relationship.
Yeah,
like, look at that.
No, but that's my point. Even trad women do not behave trad.
But what is
that?
what is
So when I say
Yeah.
traditional is family first above all. The family comes first before me.
But I think maybe there's a bias in the system because the women that we hear about are prominent political commentators.
Right.
They're working women.
Right.
Yes.
The traditional mothers don't go on. This.
Right. This is just what we were saying, that it's not as easy to get a stay-at-home mother who has things to do to get on a show just to talk about her life and what she thinks about things. And I agree with Nick here. I mean, I definitely would like to be the man in the relationship, but I don't need to be like, I don't need exactly. Subservient is a great word. I don't need some subservient woman. I want somebody who, you used to hear the phrase, "Oh, a woman that challenges me." I don't necessarily know if I want you challenging me, but giving me a reason to be at the top of my game. I'm with it. Hey, look who we got! The Funk Master General in the building, starting off hot with not one, not two, not three or four, but 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for my co-host Morty. Shout out to David, Dude Guy, Jedi Mike, Dietrich, and Michael. Welcome to the Disciples. Make sure you join the Discord because you now have full access to the entire server, including the after party. As soon as we are done here, we are going right over there. Thank you again, the Funk Master General. Welcome to the party.
Prominent political commentators, they're working women.
Yes.
The traditional mothers don't go on. This is a really good point in terms of the rise of feminism as a whole. All these news articles and these columnists, these women writing about what women should or shouldn't do, are not traditional mothers. They're working women in offices, so they have this natural bias. My life is good and everything I'm doing is correct. And then the women who are like, my family matters more than anything else, and I'm not concerned about what's going on outside this house. What matters inside this house is my thing. She's not writing these articles. We're not hearing her perspective.
Well, I mean, I don't call myself traditional or conservative because I'm like, who's tradition, what tradition? That's very vague, very nebulous. And conservative, we haven't conserved anything. There's nothing that's been conserved.
I mean, fair. I do, but whenever somebody does that as like a caveat to their entire position, it's almost like, okay, but you understand. Like, remember when I was talking to Christian and we spent how long on trying to understand in the conversation what we were talking about between the difference between left and right or liberal and conservative. So I hear you, but like we get it. Gonzaga said, new drinking game, take a drink where the pro just keeps repeating herself when someone else is talking to shut them up. Well, I mean, that was a fair use. That was a fair use of it because she asked a direct yes or no question and Lauren was kind of waffling. So you see me do that all the time. If I'm going to ask you a question and then you're just going to ramble on, be like, okay, I'm just going to ask you the question again. It's like, no. You just ramble and say whatever you're going to say, and then when you're done, I'll ask you the question again because you're not answering the question. So I'm with her on that one. Answer the question. Berson, I've done both the corporate boss babe route and the stay-at-home spouse thing, and I'll take the patriarchy any day. There we go. Let's understand deep down, I firmly believe at least 95% of career women hate work. Everybody hates working. Sorry. 95% of career women hate working, but try to convince themselves otherwise. In my opinion, women are happiest if they're stay-at-home mom, self-employed, or contributing to the family business. Yeah, I think that's true for everybody, but extra for women, because that masculine drive that men get from going out and doing whatever it is that they do in the world is just like you're saying, women are told to be that way, and that is the measure of how good of a woman you are, is how many masculine things you can get done. What? Like, make most sense. All right, so we'll keep an eye on it.
It's very
Yeah.
vague, very nebulous. And conservative, we haven't conserved anything. There's nothing that's been conserved. So I spent 20 years raising a family before I started doing this, and I kind of got into it by accident. I wrote this little book thinking maybe my dad would read it and maybe my grandkids would read it, and it just kind of blew up.
Now you're killing it.
So now here I am. But I have 5 children. I've homeschooled them. Like, I spent 20 years in my house, in my kitchen, chained to the stove. No, I'm just kidding. Doing all of that before I started making commentary on this sort of thing. And yes, I'm sorry, but if you have a whole career outside of your marriage, that complicates things. Women don't want to talk about that, about how difficult it is when you are over here trying to hustle for your career and, you know, you have goals that are not related to your family and antithetical to your family, how that is going to interrupt your family life and your marriage.
I mean, how could it not? How could it not? We only have the 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets extra time. So you have to balance your time on the things that you care about. And if you care more about your job than your family, you're gonna have a bad time. And if film said, not looking for a woman that challenges me. That never works out. I'm just looking for happy, calm, and grounded. I like that. I don't need to manage someone else's emotions. Exactly. I agree. The idea of like needing to almost babysit, where it's like you're walking on eggshells, and maybe some of you guys have been smart enough not to put yourselves in these positions, but I was pretty dumb back in the day. And yeah, just putting myself in these positions where I'm walking on eggshells, and she could go off at nothing, and then I'm taking her seriously, almost as if it's a troll that's in my comments, and I'm like actually trying to argue with them, and they're just trying to piss me off. Never works out. Nick's like 100%. Brenda said, I hated all of my jobs so much and hated making more than my husband. Yep, that's a very common thing that women don't want to see, that we're both working, but why am I doing it better? It should be you that's doing better. All right, let's dive back in.
To your family and antithetical to your family, how that is going to interrupt your family life and your marriage.
I want to trigger as many feminists as possible, so I'm going to get into this.
Let's go.
I said, shit, me too. Who doesn't love triggering feminists?
Get to this point. So there was a bunch of data that was released by like dating websites on the societal value of men and women. And I think it was OkCupid, something like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, showing that societal value tracked among like the willingness of people to interact with each other. Women start their whole lives from 0 through all their teen years at 100% societal value. They're protected, they're offered opportunities, they have easier time getting entry-level jobs, and men start at 0. Yes. Young men are considered unskilled, non-valuable, break rocks, kid, earn your place. And then
what age are we talking about then? Because I agree with him if we're talking about, even into the teenage years, but like under, 12, 11, 12 years old, that we're not talking men, we're talking boys, which is children. So I think there's definitely that innocence is ascribed to young boys in the same way it is young girls, but certainly as adolescence and adulthood, boys and girls are not treated the same.
Unskilled, non-valuable, break rocks, kid, earn your place. And then around the mid-20s, a shift starts happening where women start to experience a decline in social value while men experience an incline. Yeah. Men are becoming more skilled and more valuable as they become stronger and more capable. And not even all men, only a small percentage of them. Whereas as women age, society values them less and less for the obvious reason of the intrinsic.
You're old and you're wrinkly. Ew.
The value society had was the ability to have kids. This results in, if your whole life, everyone around you is saying you are the best, and then one day you start hearing everyone say you're not so great and men are better, you start to feel like something's being taken away from you.
Yes.
And so one of the hypotheses I have is that for the average guy who grows up in the gutter, is more likely to be homeless, more likely to be a victim of crime, less likely to get entry-level jobs, much harder at a younger age to get a job than women in their teenage years. These guys are like, man, it's rough. Now they're 26 and they're like, life is finally getting good.
Right.
They're tolerant of the crap. They're used to things being cruddy. And so now they're kind of comfortable. They start hearing women say, man, it's not fair. I'm having these things taken away from me. And the guy thinks, this is the least concerning thing I have ever had to deal with in my life.
And this reminds me of something that I talked about when, not really with gender, but kind of the same concept with age. And I remember I was at a bar and I was 22 years old. and I was having just talking around with the people at the bar, and the bartender was talking about like, oh, getting older and facing mortality and all this stuff. And what I was trying to say, I was trying to say that, yeah, at my age, you're 22, that's when you're really first realizing all of that stuff is happening. So at your age, at 30, 40, whatever, you've had time to deal with the reality that, childhood is over. You got to be a real person, all that stuff. Of course, I couldn't get out. Well, I'm 22. And he's like, oh, you're so young. Like, yes, I know that. I'm saying I'm just at the beginning of this, this understanding. And so what Tim's talking about is the perception that if you're a girl and you're living up here, and then as life goes on, it's not going to be so good. Whereas if you're a man and you start, if we're going the same way, and you're going up to here, then at 30 years old, we're looking at the world very, very differently. I always like the term feminazis. Works, right? The shoe fits.
And the guy thinks, this is the least concerning thing I have ever had to deal with in my life. But that then confers to the men saying, sure, fine, whatever, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to do X, Y, or Z, or the law says this. I've literally eaten out of a dumpster before. This is not my problem.
Right.
And so women experiencing decline creates a pressure on our legal system and our society to continually shift everything back into benefiting women.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of women in their 20s and especially into their 30s, they experience this. And there are so many TikTok videos of like women in their 30s in their car crying about how they're no longer.
I can attest to this, as I know most of you don't go on TikTok. Even though I'm pretty sure TikTok thinks I'm a black woman, it still shows me a surprising amount of women who are just crying in their car about this, that, and the other. And I kind of, maybe it's just, I love the tears. I love the tears. I don't wish anything bad on these people, but it's already happened. And if you record it and put it on the internet, I'm going to enjoy it.
Longer desirable, because a lot of women's worth is the dating marketplace, the sexual marketplace. So when these women aren't married and they don't have kids, they are faced with the reality that yes, they do have less societal value, and it's terrifying for them because it's only going to get worse. But that is why, as a woman, motherhood is amazing. Like, I'm going to be turning 30, and I have a lot of friends who are single, 30, like unmarried. They're freaking out. Their prospects look very different from mine. Like, I'm married, I have a family. Like, I'm actually of the opinion, like, now my life is really just beginning. Like, now I'm going on the up and up. You can have more kids. It's a beautiful thing. Like, my life is almost just beginning, where it's like, if you are the single girl boss, your life is kind of ending at that point. And it's so disappointing to see that they don't realize that it didn't have to be this way.
Yeah. And I think she makes a great point about, obviously, again, I'm not a father, but I understand the concept of, once you have a child, then you get to relive your own childhood, exposing your own kids to the things that you enjoyed as a kid, and it opens up a different avenue of life, which is why, even though right now I'm not dealing with the dating market, I do eventually want to find somebody to have kids with and build a family with.
So
for them,
with greater, I think all of you are probably have heard of greater male variability hypothesis. Are you familiar? So if we look at the strength chart, actually, it's pretty interesting. You can see that the median male strength, it's wider than female strength. Mm-hmm. So greater male variability hypothesis is that there are more failure men, but there are more exceptional men, right. And women tend to be more average.
We cluster around the mean.
Well, so yeah, that's what they're saying. If this is this happens to be with grip strength, but this tends to be across most things, where the red is men and the blue is women. And blue. Okay, the blue is women, and the red is women, and the blue is men. And so you can see that more of the women are in the middle of the curve, where and the curve is shorter. So compared to the men's curve, you have a few, you have a lot of super, this is grip strength. So you have few super weak dudes. But most of the men that are below the median are still at least as strong as the strongest women. And then, of course, you see the differential of the strongest woman is still barely stronger than the average man, whereas the strongest man is way stronger than the median woman or even the strongest woman. So a lot going on there. But again, this is just grip strength, but this applies to just about not just about everything, but anything that has to do with biology. across the genders.
Are more exceptional men, and women tend to be more average.
We cluster around the mean.
Well, so think about what this means for entering the marketplace. You want to be the girl boss. You want to be the CEO. If you look at grip strength, which is not indicative, doesn't necessarily correlate specifically with capability to run a company. Look at the guys in the high end, which are triple the median grip strength, the highest end of guys. There's 500 Fortune 500s. There are 330 million Americans.
So just on those numbers alone, most people won't be a CEO. Most men won't be a CEO. So to think that there should be an even number of women CEOs is silly. It's silly. Oh, are we getting a hungry dance? Are we getting a hungry dance? Not yet. Not yet. All right, he's good. He's good, guys. No worries.
500 Fortune 500s. There are 330 million Americans. Let's say there's 150, let's say there's 80 million adult males. Only 500 will be top CEOs.
Yep.
That means the girl boss who is
What's going on in South Korea?
in her late 20s, entering her 30s, and thinks, I want to be the CEO, not the mom, has to compete with the highest end of the male capability spectrum, which tends to be, due to greater male variability hypothesis, there's going to be 10,000 male geniuses of insane strength fighting each other, and there's going to be 100 females. That means the likelihood of you seeing a Fortune 500 CEO female is going to be very, very low unless we pass DEI laws.
Can I ask a question? I don't know if this is a dumb question.
DEI should DIE.
But why does grip strength have to do with CEOs? Grip strength?
That's why I said this is not a direct correlation.
Oh,
between
okay. That's why I was confused. I'm like, what is that?
But it tends to be this way in a lot.
I mean, good question though. If she, that I'll give her points. I'll give her points. Shout out to Zippy, the SME. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Burning Popcorn Count said, never forget that Tim Pool is a quarter Korean. I don't think we ever could, even if we tried.
Correlation.
Oh, okay. That's why I was confused. I'm like,
Oh my God, what do we got here? Guam Tech with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And Morty is loving it. Said, quick, feed the beast before he destroys us all. Thank you, sir. Of course, that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very, very much.
what is that?
But it tends to be this way in a lot of metrics.
Fine.
Where even
This
the
is-
exceptional men are so far ahead of everybody else that
Right,
it's
right,
like,
okay, fine.
This is simply an example of greater male variability. It does not correlate with CEOs.
Yeah.
It's an example of how in grip strength, almost all women cluster right at the same point, but men, look at this.
I think IQ is similar.
Yeah, IQ is similar.
That was the point.
Again, women are
That was the point. Most of these things are similar. Anything that has to do with physiology and biology is going to look similar to that.
more clustered around the mean.
Right.
So their curve is looking more like this. Men look like this. So you're going to have dumber men for sure, but you're also going to have way
I don't
smarter
believe
men.
it. Sorry.
What do you
I know. I don't. I just look at life outcomes. I know all the
Oh
academic.
God, here we go. Pearl's gonna feel like, well, I know the science, but here's some other shit that I just feel.
They'll say this, the science is proven, whatever.
You gotta trust the science,
but
bro.
look, I'm sorry. I have to believe what's in front of my eyes. I've interviewed 1,000 men, 1,000 women. Women make way dumber life choices. Way like you won't convince me otherwise.
Probably some of the dumbest life choices you could make would be the ones that lead you to be homeless. Homeless are
okay. Yeah.
overwhelmingly men.
Let's talk about the homeless.
Well,
Actually,
no.
no.
I gotta address your point. I gotta address your point. You said women make worse life choices. I'd say a man who married a woman who divorced him and took his stuff made a poor life choice.
That's true. People make their own decisions, responsible for their own actions.
Accountability.
Yeah, I think the equivalent of that would be if I get into a contract with you and you're paid to fuck me over, steal my kids, and take my money.
Yeah, you screwed up. That's your fault.
Right. So then men shouldn't get married by that logic. So
Right, but what they're saying is that men do get married by that logic, and you are claiming that women make worse life decisions. Right over her head. Right over her head.
Don't get married unless you're absolutely sure you know what you're
or
doing.
have children by that logic, because women are always paid and they're paid to leave.
Well, I mean, I'm going to push back on the idea that women are paid to leave,
I actually want to.
If you're married to like a rich guy, you are better off if you're just interested financially. You have access to greater resources by staying married.
What is your argument that men should get married anyway, even if they risk divorce?
No. My argument is that men should pick for themselves, but I would never.
There's isn't there like a? I'm trying to think. There's a song that's in it. It's gonna come to me. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, help me out.
downplay the risk of marriage, and I think it could happen to anyone.
Yeah, poor life choice.
Even a good
If they're
woman,
watching your show and they believe what you're saying, they made a dumb choice.
Even all right, rude, but
That's true. That's your point.
even a good woman. Sometimes women in their 20s change, so they might say one thing in their 20s, and then their 30s and 40s they might switch. Look at
So men shouldn't get married.
Look at conservative comment. No, because they are still incentivized to leave.
Right,
And
so
as
men
long
shouldn't
as-
get married.
Oh wait.
Yeah, she keeps arguing against herself. Shout out to Giggling Spy over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Oh, that works. That works, but there was something else I was thinking of as well. But good one. Welcome to the party. Beavis said, don't take any risks. Don't drive. Don't eat meat with bones. Life is not safe. Find a cave. I'm good. I'll live life and take the risk. I wouldn't know that I would have to hear it. Hilarious. I love how Pearl dropped the ball there. She called Tim rude instead of saying, I don't give advice again. Good point. All right, let's run that back. There was a couple things that happened there. Yeah, she's just repeating the same thing over.
Even a good woman, sometimes women in their 20s change.
I
would never. No. My argument is.
So remember, this started from her saying that, but based on what I've seen, women make worse life choices than men. Then we're looking at marriage. And we're saying, okay, well, if a man gets married to a bad woman who's going to divorce him, then that is a man's bad decision. And even by that logic, it's not a bad decision, a bad life decision by a woman, because she's getting money, she's getting her freedom, she's getting, whatever she thinks it is. And they're making that point. And then she's like, no. Shout out to Project VO Pod. Welcome to the party. Said men aren't getting married as much these days, bro. So by that logic, Pearl is correct. Again, less men are not getting married compared to the other generations. I don't think that's what they're saying. The point is, who's making bad life decisions? And she's saying that women make more bad life decisions, but also these men are marrying these bad women. So when we say that it's a woman's fault if she gets pregnant by, a dude that she doesn't want to be, that's her choice. She has to be accountable for the people that she lays with. I think it goes the other way as well. You can't blame the woman if you, as the man, pick the wrong one. Now, we can certainly point out her behavior and say that we don't like it, but you got to take accountability for making a baby with somebody or marrying somebody that you didn't vet properly, right? Welcome to the party. Burns said, I think women would benefit from having their father and male relatives involved in mate selection. I agree. Shout out to JL. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. So Crowder was everyone's guy from 2017 to 2019. His ego is insane, though. Yeah, I mean, even before that, he was still seen as kind of like a more jokey, lighthearted kind of guy in the space, but people took him very seriously, and very quickly he destroyed his own brand because of his ego. Yep. Women are the gatekeepers of sex, and men are the gatekeepers of what? Marriage and relationships, which is exactly what Tim's point is here. Jason, I think it's ignorant to blame one gender for everything. That's some BS red pill nonsense. Obviously. But this is what Pearl is putting forward. That's why we're talking about it. What? Maybe I'm missing something. Yep, there you go. Exactly.
What is your argument that men should get married anyway, even if they risk divorce?
No.
Right. So they can risk divorce, and there's no fault divorce, and women are so bad because they'll do whatever. But men should still get married. Why? Why is that the case? Why would you advocate that men don't get married?
My argument is that men should pick for themselves, but I would never downplay the risk of marriage, and I think it could happen to anyone.
Yeah, poor life choice.
Even a good
if they're
woman,
watching your show and they believe what you're saying, they made a dumb choice.
That's her own logic.
All right, rude, but
That's true.
even
That's your point.
Yes.
even a good woman, sometimes women in their 20s change. So they might say one thing in their 20s and then their 30s and 40s they might switch. Look at
So men shouldn't get married.
Look at conservative comment. No, because they are still incentivized to.
So then, Tim, what you got to do now, because 4 or 5 times you said, "Oh, so you're saying that women or that men shouldn't get married." So you throw her the Uno reverse. Okay, so why should men get married? If it's so dangerous, according to Pearl, why should men get married? You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
Look at conservative comment. No, because they are still incentivized to leave.
So why should men get married in the first place, according to Pearl?
Right, so
And as
men
long
shouldn't
as-
get married.
Oh wait, should or shouldn't?
Shouldn't.
Well, I'm saying men should pick for themselves, but I would never downplay that risk. But I want to go. I want to go.
If they're going to listen to everything you just said and then choose to get married, they made a poor life choice.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I am saying
Now who's not standing on business? Is it good or is it bad? Visit, are less Japanese people getting married because of similar unfavorable laws that we have, or is it culture, economics, or all of the above? I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I have no idea about what is going on with Japanese sexual relations, except that they're not doing so well. But other than that, I don't know jack shit. Sorry. Person, I'm fucking embarrassed to be a woman in 2024. We are totally out of order as a group. Shout out to AOC and MTG going at it in Congress the other day, right? It's so bad. I don't even want to be around most women. I said, shit, me too. Oh, God damn it.
They made a poor life choice.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I am saying that from a contractual standpoint, it would not be a contract that favors them.
Right. So the point is, if your argument is the system is weighted against you,
Correct.
You can get divorced, then the logical thing a smart man could do
would not get married. That is the logical conclusion of what you're saying, Pearl.
is not get married and have kids.
Yeah, if they wanted a contract that favored them, yes.
But
I wanna-
then
I wanna
why
go
were
back
you
to the
arguing?
homeless. And
Why were you arguing that whole time? How many times is it? So men shouldn't get married. So you think men shouldn't get married. So men shouldn't get married. Well, no. But you think men shouldn't get married. Yes. Okay, great. Like, this is what happens when you're listening to respond instead of listening to understand. Larry said, I heard from Japanese people that social incentives for marriage and having kids are crazy. It can't overcome the other pressures, though. Other pressures like what? Again, I have no idea what's going on in Japan. Tom said, Pearl has said women are the root of most evil, despite most crimes being committed by men. They do address that. And we will get to it.
yeah, if they wanted a contract that favored them, yes.
But
But
I
I want to go back to the homeless. And the problem you get with a lot of this stuff is that there's not a lot of studies put into men's issues. So a lot of times what you see with the data is you're not getting the full picture because most studies that are funded, it's for women and the government is run by feminists. So there's a guy, he's out of Michigan. His name's Terrence Popp, really, really smart guy. And he actually followed 1,800 divorces in Michigan. And what he did was he found the reason for the divorces. And he actually followed a lot of those men to homeless shelters. And he found that if he goes to homeless shelters, 70% of the men owe child support. A lot of men are become homeless because of the system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's my
And
point.
men are-
But but the way you're painting it is like, oh, if they're homeless, that's just a poor life choice.
But I mean,
And,
from your own.
But again, if you're willing to say that a woman getting pregnant, and again, I'm not putting my own thoughts out here. I'm just going based on what Pearl says. So if Pearl is willing to say that if you got pregnant by a man who you didn't want to have their children, or even you did and they walked out on you, that's the woman's fault because she made a bad decision. As VO podcast, Project VO podcast was saying, it's the women that are the gatekeepers of sex. So if you have sex with the wrong person, that's your fault. So if men are the gatekeepers of marriage, then why is it not considered a bad decision to marry a woman who's going to divorce you, according to Pearl? That's the question. And so again, if she's going to say that child support and all these types of things are a big reason as to why men are homeless, then that is men making bad choices by getting married to the wrong women, according to Pearl.
But the way you're painting it is like, oh, if they're homeless, that's just a poor life choice.
But I mean,
And,
from your own logic, you know,
There you go.
if you
There you go.
have sex with a guy who knocks you up then leaves, that's a poor life choice, right? These are all, we can say, poor life choices to some degree. That gets you there. Doesn't absolve the other person of responsibility either, but you are ultimately at least a little bit culpable for the
I'm not saying they're not.
Guys, if you could do me a huge favor, share this out to somebody that would be fun in this conversation. Let's get this party popping. Thank you so very, very much.
Culpable, but what I'm saying is that he shouldn't have to be enslaved for 18 years to a woman because he made a poor life choice. And there's no female equivalent of that.
I mean,
No, because the woman can always put the
Damn.
guy on.
Until Friday, Japan was the only G7 country that did not recognize the legal concept of joint custody. God damn.
And child support for the most part.
having to raise a child that perhaps you did not want in single motherhood, some women would say that that would be
But she still has the choice to abort. And adoption as well. You know, there's a case in Utah where a woman wanted to give up her son for adoption. The husband wanted it. He wanted to raise. He said, "Please let me raise." He had no rights. The kid's gone.
Hey, shout out to Project VO. I appreciate that very, very much. See, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Thank you so much.
Do you think women should be drafted?
I think
Yes.
as long as we can vote, we should be drafted. I think it's better that we didn't vote.
Agreed.
But I think if you're going to give women the freedom, like as long as we have the freedom, give them the responsibility that comes with it, or you can opt out.
All right, so let's go to the poll. Okay, so I'm just gonna say which one. So we have women can't vote, no draft. We have anyone draft and vote. Men only for both. Or what's the other option? Women can't vote and they don't have a draft. Anyone can draft and vote. Women can vote but no draft. All right. So there's the four situations. Would you like it for the women cannot vote, but women can also not be drafted? That's option one. Number two is anyone can vote, but also anyone can be drafted. Number two is only men can vote and only men can. Oh shit, I messed it up. Oh well, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Pick the one that you find best. And shout out again to our boy, the Funk Master General, with another 5 gifted memberships. Let's give Morty a monster for that one. We are now up to 10 gifted memberships. Thank you. Thank you so much. He's going to choke on it. He's going to choke on it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. The Funk Master General. Very, very, very much appreciated, sir.
As we can vote, we should be drafted. I think it's better that we didn't vote.
Agreed.
But I think if you're going to give women the freedom, like as long as we have the freedom, give them the responsibility that comes with it, or you can opt out.
Yeah.
I talked to Vivek Ramaswamy about this a year ago. He doesn't really stand in this position today, but it was a brilliant idea. He said, maybe it should be, if you want to vote, you have to sign up for the selective service.
Service through citizenship.
So
yeah, I mean that seems to be the only thing that makes sense now in a world where we have equality. It doesn't make sense that women can get the vote and then in a time of war that they can't be drafted. Not saying that women need to be on the front lines of anything, but there's many different positions in the military. So this idea that drafting women means throwing them on the front lines, that's not necessarily the case. Burns says, I like the idea of women only getting half a vote. Voted women can't vote and no draft. That's fair. That's fair. Women voting has been the worst thing for this country, says Burner Popcorn Account. Tom Brokaw says, I believe in net taxpayer voting, meaning if you, as long as you're paying into the system, you vote. That's fair. Burner Popcorn Account agrees. The same, which would actually rule out many women voters anyway. Hey, 2 birds, 1 stone. All right.
it should be, if you want to vote, you have to sign up for the selective service.
Service through citizenship.
So this doesn't mean you will be drafted, because we haven't had a draft in 50 some odd years. It just means that men and women both would have to say, I am willing to fight when the need arises, and then you're allowed to vote. What would happen?
Or, again, just to highlight, or say, no, I'm not willing to do that. And also, I'm going to forego my right to vote. I think that's totally fair.
Overwhelmingly, liberals would no longer vote and women would no longer vote.
Yeah.
Right. But that's why you also have to get rid of the 19th Amendment, because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Sheetz, Tim, we're getting into this. So Sheetz, it's this like kind of gas station company. They're actually being taken to court by a federal agency for discriminating against Black applicants. Why, you might say? Well, it turns out part of their screening process is they do a background check on applicants, and they don't want people who have a criminal background.
It is now racist to not want to hire people with criminal backgrounds.
What?
That's racist. Did you guys hear about this? With it's Sheetz, the gas station. We have Wawa more up here, and I mean, like, there's Quick Check too, but it ain't the same as Wawa. But just insane. Burner Popcorn Account says, I swear, sometimes I'll be talking to another woman, and she'll seem okay at first, and then she busts out the crazy, and it catches me off guard. I've been there. I have been there. The Beavis Ring with C said, I'd like to have Pearl in the army, put her on the front lines, and have her start babbling. The other side might just self-delete. Oh, Beavis is on it tonight. Beavis is on it tonight. Equal rights should mean equal responsibility. Agreed.
Part of their screening process is they do a background check on applicants, and they don't want people who have a criminal background. Sounds reasonable enough. But what the government found was that Black applicants were actually being ruled out of the running for jobs at a higher rate than white or Hispanic applicants.
What does that have to do with the 19th Amendment?
No, it's the Civil Rights Act, right?
Oh.
So basically, the federal agents are actually acknowledging that perhaps this discrimination was not purposeful. Right? They weren't trying to discriminate against Black people, but still, because the outcome was inequitable toward Black people, they were still running afoul of the Civil Rights Act, which prevents discrimination based on like immutable characteristics. So I am in favor of service through citizenship, but the reason why the 19th Amendment is a problem with that is that if it were to be the case that there was some sort of metric for service for voting, and it happened that women were disproportionately not represented, I could see they would absolutely make the case that that requirement was running afoul of the 19th Amendment because the outcomes were unequal.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, so far, the idea of repeal the 19th has been very much a tongue-in-cheek thing, at least for, I don't think I've said it. I don't think I've tweeted it, but, you know, just my understanding was that, you know, maybe there's some people who are serious about it, but it's more of a tongue-in-cheek thing. But I don't know. I don't know. That's a really good argument, especially if we were to put in place service guaranteed citizenship. Then yeah, done. 19th, done. Which of course is not the way that it would go. It would go the other way, and then you say, well, no, you can't do that because it leads to disparate outcomes. Burn Popcorn Count said yesterday, I discovered Jesse does a live church service. It's as weird as you'd expect. Should we maybe cover that? Drop something, drop a link in the Discord. We will definitely cover that at some point. Now that I'm doing all these lives every day and stuff, let's do it.
He made the case that that requirement was running afoul of the 19th Amendment because the outcomes were unequal. Yeah.
Does everybody agree to get rid of the 19th? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Yes. What are your reasons for it, Pearl?
That women shouldn't vote because we don't do equal work. So I think if we're not running the infrastructure, if we're not in the military like men are, we're not paying taxes like men are, I don't think that we should vote.
Or dying on oil rigs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you, I mean, so it's basically like women aren't contributing enough to society in the same ways with like the taxes and stuff like that?
I mean, I think that men are more capable than women by and large, like as a group, but I was trying to think about how you could apply it to today, because I don't think today you could just say women shouldn't vote. I mean, I do like the t-shirts. Go get them at theaudacitynetwork.com. They're funny t-shirts, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the only way you'd limit female vote.
But I guess I want to know, like,
all right, so I meant to skip ahead, but they're kind of moving into the next part about the Christian, the newly converted Christians and stuff. So we'll just run through. It's like 2 minutes from here.
I want to get to your reasoning why.
Because I think if you're going to have a say in the policies, you need to have some skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be running the infrastructure. You need to be a net I mean, I think only 20% of people are net taxpayers anyway.
Very small, yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe own land. You know, we could go back.
Really? Only 20%? Really? What percentage of Americans are net? Is that net taxpayers? Yeah, in total, about 59. Where are we? 59.9% of U.S. household income. That's household incomes, or households. I mean, I don't know. Okay, this again, I don't know.
20% of people are net taxpayers anyway.
Very small, yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe own land. You know,
I mean, it seems like maybe it's not too far off from that. If you think about like the household, and for each household, then you're not necessarily going to have the same opinion. So if you were to do by individual, but I don't know how to do all that math right now. Hilarious said the running the infrastructure argument is dumb. She always uses oil rigs as an example. Tim was actually the one to say that. I've never worked in infrastructure in my life. Okay. And why is it a dumb argument? A lot of people haven't worked in infrastructure. I don't get it. But Popcorn Count says, but you have to offset benefits and tax credits they get. Yeah, getting into all that. Yeah, that's definitely not my strong suit. So Tom says, remember that because you pay taxes doesn't mean you are a net taxpayer. You have to subtract benefit. That's what we were looking at. And 20% seems low. But I don't know. I'm not with Burner Popcorn. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Said I think her point is there are hardly any women in infrastructure jobs. It's pretty much all dudes. Yeah. Why is that a bad argument? Why structure voting around a specific job type? I'm confused. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's the idea that you're specifically talking about why oil rigs are not a good example. I don't understand why it's not a good example. There's the infrastructure talking point from Kevin Samuels. Yep, Kevin Samuels was right. R.I.P. to the Godfather. There's just not women doing that. Now, of course, not all men are doing that, but nobody's arguing that all men are doing that.
I think
it's the feminists saying that, no, we don't need men.
20% of people are net taxpayers anyway.
Very small, yeah.
I think maybe own land. You know, we could go back and forth about what exactly you would need to require in order to vote, but I think you have to have some skin in the game. Otherwise, you're just going to keep voting for benefits.
Net taxpayer, real quick, just so everyone understands, something like only 43% of people pay taxes because the rest are on, like, they don't reach that threshold.
Right.
But of that 43, many are receiving more in government benefits than they actually pay.
Still not net tax.
Wow. Okay. So that does make sense. He says, speaking of Matt, did you see Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan? That was a wild ride. I saw a bunch of clips on TikTok. I did not know who has been hiding Terrence Howard. Who's been hiding Terrence Howard? That's a whole that's an aside, but definitely at least check out some clips. I definitely am going to find something that we're going to cover. Maybe not tomorrow, but this week, because I did not expect that. I did not expect that, and it sounded like very like uber out there, very like woo woo. But the more I saw like maybe 4 or 5 clips, and they started talking, I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know enough to know if he's like completely right or completely wrong, but he's definitely not completely full of shit. That's for sure. Shout out to Zippy, the SM Lee. Welcome to the party. I would say so. I mean, they didn't talk very much politics. They were talking a lot of spirituality and stuff. So I guess it depends on where you fall with that. But very interesting to say the least. Tom Brokaw says more women do useless jobs than men, but a ton of men also have useless jobs, desk jockeys and middle managers. Sure, of course. The point, the reason this is brought up is because of the argument from women that will say like end all men, or we don't need men, or society doesn't need men. Not that every single man is integral to the functioning of society. Obviously, there's losers. There's losers of all kinds. But to say that we can get rid of all men, that's why the infrastructure jobs come up, because women ain't doing that just as much as most men as Funkmaster said, most men couldn't do it. So the men who do it are even more necessary because it's not like a desk job where you can just throw in another person. That's precisely the point. Precisely the point. Where are we? So Thompson more, yeah, more women do useless jobs than men, but agree. I wouldn't. That's kind of a straw man there. I don't remember Tom saying anything about childcare, but Bernard said my husband is in the trades and there's basically 0 women in his field. Well, I mean,
How dare
they got to fix that. It must be because they're purposely keeping women out, right? Shout out to Zippy, DSM, Lee, said late but not forgotten, no matter how much you want to forget. With the Rumble rant. There it is for Morty. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, childcare is not used, but HR definitely is. Yep. Yeah, I never said everything that a woman does is useless. Again, reading the words, more women do useless jobs than men do useless jobs. But a ton of men also have useless jobs. Most people have useless jobs. There's a very small percentage of people who actually keep the world running. But most of those people are men. And so when women say we don't need men, that's obviously silly. Larry said, when you frame the oil rig point that way, it makes sense. What I hear Pearl saying is that the oil rig is a good metric for voting. Maybe I'm mishearing. So, I mean, she may be very bad at articulating this point, but yeah, Kevin Samuels was definitely one who harped on this. And yeah, in response to women being like, I don't need no man, and in general, and like legitimately believing that, whether it is in your own life that you're going to grow old and not ever want the companionship of family, or be able to live in society. Maybe some women are happy not to get married, but I don't think any women are happy not to have roads. Just saying. Yeah, that was definitely based on some issues. I don't think about math or science. It could be bunk, beats me, but I just enjoy the wildness. So, I mean, it definitely was based in, I mean, he's spoken at like Oxford and stuff like that. He's not like just some guy. It's not like he does this casually. He's done like legitimate speeches. And again, I don't know enough about the math or science to correct him, but I definitely have gotten into, like the flower of life and sacred geometry and all that kind of stuff. That's what they're talking about. Really, really, really cool. Burner popcorn accounts. Generally, most women don't want to crawl around in somebody's hot attic or crawl space all day. Right. Exactly. Hopefully, but my previous jobs were stupid, and the last workplace was essentially an adult daycare. Exactly. All right, where were we here?
43. Many are receiving more in government benefits than they actually pay.
So still not net taxpayers.
I like the net taxpayer for vote on
Yeah.
this.
So continuing on that, do you also support repealing the 15th Amendment?
You have to remind me what the 15th
Do you
Amendment
think
is. I'm sorry, go
it's
ahead.
basically like the 19th, but for Black people?
So it says the rights of citizens in the U.S. to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the U.S. or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
Why? Maybe I'm just really ignorant. Why would, number one, how is that relevant to this? And why would it, how is that relevant to this?
I don't think so, but I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Is that what you think?
Well, I'm for like service guaranteeing citizenship, and I don't think.
Okay, I got it. So if we were to, so if the service guarantees citizenship, the service guarantees citizenship. Jesus Christ! If that is in place, and you have to do some type of service to get citizenship, and it has the disparate outcomes, just like with the women with the 19th, then likely they'll do the same. Well, if there's not enough Black people, then they'll say it's racist. Got it. Yeah. There you go. Oh my goodness, Zippy again. Nah, never. You gotta apologize, but thank you for the Rumble rant. No shame money. That is glad to have you here, money. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated.
Well, again, I'm for like service guaranteeing citizenship. And I don't think being a woman should give you the right to vote. I think the same thing applies to race. And if we were to, do something like net taxpayer, property owner, et cetera, or even like married households, Black people would be disproportionately underrepresented like women would be. So if the 15th Amendment is on the books, you're also going to have discrimination that way. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, shout out to Tom Broca. No comment, no question, just pure love of the game. And Marty is eating nice. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. Oh, a reminder, guys, if you do send me something somewhere else, like a Venmo, Cash App, any of those things, send me put something in the chat so that I know, because it doesn't give me the notifications all the time. Oh my goodness! Back to back. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, Marty is loving it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really do appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Like women would be. So if the 15th Amendment is on the books, you're also going to have discrimination that way. So that's why I'm asking why exactly.
You're saying by that they would claim discrimination if we passed those policies.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess by that logic, it seems like that would make sense too. But I don't really know.
I think I figured out.
I feel like that would be, for some reason, I can't put my finger on why exactly, but I feel like that would be harder to repeal. So which would be harder to repeal? Which amendments? 15th or the 19th? That's a tough one. Because theoretically, we would go for both at the same time. So it's not like, oh, we're going against women, or oh, we're going against Black people. That it's like, oh, we're getting rid of all of these so that we can reorganize the way that we decide these things. I don't know. That's a tough one. Tom said that would make sense too. Black people can't vote either. Well, I mean, if you're not trying to fix the country, if you're not trying to help things, and you're just voting because somebody told you, because Charlemagne told you, oh, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Well, I don't really want you to vote. It has nothing to do with your skin color. Tom said the 19th, because then you are messing with white and Jewish women. Interesting. So Tom says the 19th to be harder. Zippy says having general limitations on voting should not invalidate 15 and 19. I agree with you, but Lauren's looking forward and saying that even if it shouldn't, that it will. So that being the case, trying to get ahead of them using the racism, sexism thing to say you can't do service guarantees citizenship. Then before we get to service guaranteeing citizenship, then we would have to repeal these amendments. So, let's see.
Well, then I guess by that logic, it seems like that would make sense too. But I don't really know.
I think I figured out the problem. I think I
figured out the solution.
The 28th Amendment. The right to vote shall be, or voting shall be granted only to those who have 2 children or more and are actively in the lives of those children. Now, how you make that legal, but the general idea is you got to have 2 kids and you got to be actively parenting them, or they must be adults, and then you're allowed to vote.
No.
Wait. So I don't get a vote? What the fuck? I would happily, I'm not, I mean, fuck you. No, I don't like that. Exactly. I mean, exactly. But that's precisely why we want to get ahead of it. Tom said, even if you don't logically think it should, you will have to repeal it because there is a court precedent saying that unequal outcomes is de facto discrimination. Which, of course, it's not. But once they have the precedent, then it's there.
I still think military members should be able to vote.
And military members, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, or like men that have very big, like.
Oh, based on marriage. How would that make more broken homes? Show your work. How would it make more broken homes?
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, or like men that have very big like tax, like like if Jeff Bezos didn't, does he have kids? I don't know. But I'm saying like big companies like that, I think it would be fair that they would vote.
I think all of these things together make sense. Like the idea that someone can show up and when I think it was 2020, Andrew Yang said he was going to move to Georgia. End of 2020, he's going to move to Georgia to help. Who was it, Warnock or whatever? And I can't remember the guy's name. In Georgia, win. It's like you don't live there, and you're going to go to their state and vote on how they should be represented is insane.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's because in this country, voting is no longer about winning an argument and deciding on how your side should be run. It's about collecting pieces of paper with names on them. That's it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Where are we? All right. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. That's basically what they're saying. But I want to get to where they were talking a little bit more about religion.
Send me a female cop.
Well, that's the thing, right? If there's a natural disaster,
Before we get there, let's grab some of these chats. Tom, so that's why Lauren mentioned the court case where drug testing was deemed racist because more blacks are affected. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. So he said it gives people an excuse to have kids so they could vote. More people having kids ups the rate. No. He said you have to be married and taking care of the children. And I would assume that includes living in the same household. I'm just guessing. He didn't say it, but I'm pretty sure that Tim would rather somebody like me have the vote despite not having children versus somebody who's having kids just for and making broken homes. So I think there was an implication that the home must stay together. You know what I mean? Military service and community. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Firefighter.
Nobody's like, oh,
I'm an athlete. I'm 6 foot. I'm taller than most. What are you gonna do that I can't do?
right. But,
So I wanted to
All right, here we go.
I wanted to bring up your Nala video. What did I do that was so wrong about Nala?
So you guys remember Nala, right? Nala Ray, who had a whole thing with who was it? It was Michael Knowles, and she changed her whole life. She's making $9 million on OnlyFans. And then Christ. So she's perfect now. Right? That's what you believe, right? Right? She's forgiven.
Well,
I want to talk about this whore.
Yeah. So, this is a thing where we brought it up when I was talking to Andrew, Rachel's husband. You can find him at the Crucible, I believe is his channel.
Shout out to the Crucible. Come debate me.
So basically, I am of the belief that if you are a new convert, you should not be in any type of leadership position at a church, especially as a woman, pastor. No.
I mean, a woman should never have any leadership role in a church.
Yeah,
to begin with.
That's a red.
Hey, coming in out of nowhere with the bar. What the bar? I think she's the cutest one on the table. Maybe Lauren, but I think she's the cutest one on the table. Oh, I meant to dilly that, but dilly to her.
Flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, if you're going to church and just like,
Ooh, I don't know. Which one? I forget, the Moody chick or based Isabella Moody or Lauren Chen. So let's go for this. Definitely the 19th, harder to repeal. I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think the 15th. But let's say who's cuter? Isabel or just based on looks, not what you think of what they have to say. Just based on looks.
Should never have any leadership role in a church.
Yeah,
to begin with.
that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Isabella Riley Moody. Thank you.
Basically, if you're going to church and just like, this is the female
So
pastor.
we'd agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, hang on. But so I don't disagree with everything you said about her. But basically, you had some tweets saying like, Jesus won't save these hoes. And I think it's reasonable to be skeptical. And, you were kind of digging on whether Nala is or is not still engaging.
She raised her OnlyFans prices after this is confirmed. She raised her OnlyFans prices after she was saved.
After she was saved. She was saved, guys. She was saved. She just needed a little extra bread after the $9 million she stole from all these. Well, she didn't steal it, but she garnered from these simps.
Right.
I think anything from that, she's full of shit.
Yeah. So I'm not here to. I support you trying to keep her accountable. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Then why did I get a 30-minute video on me?
Well,
how about you shut up and let her explain it to you?
I don't know. It's 20 minutes.
It wasn't 30 minutes just on you. I was going through a bunch of tweets.
Classic woman exaggerating the number.
Yo, Isabella, what is good? Oh my God. As we said, women should not be in leadership. Was shoehorned in later on the religions. Let's go back to the time we paid off sin. Hey, if it's gonna be a business, let's treat it like a business. Burner Popcorn account said Nala should donate all of that money to the church. Then why not? Why not? She's saved. What money does she need? She has eternal salvation. What is earthly money?
Sorry, I'm still a woman.
Yeah, what can you do?
Do you think it is possible for Christ
We know
to
that.
save someone like
it's
Nala?
possible, but I need some evidence. I need some evidence that you've done something before we put her on a show and say this woman is saved, because it's going.
Well, let's also not forget that she started selling rosaries for like $170 on Etsy after the Knowles interview. I mean, come on. Tom said, Nala's probably a grifter, but there is value in sending the message to women that being less of a whore is good. I can agree with you there. I definitely can agree with you there.
You've done something before we put her on a show and say this woman is saved, because it's going to deter people from Christianity in the long term. If men, see they're putting OnlyFans whores as preachers in churches now. Sorry, I don't know if that's going to affect YouTube, but and so I think when someone's clearly full of shit, we got to call.
She said whore, and she's like, oh, I don't know about YouTube. And then she's like, well, all this shit. Come on. Oh, Zippy. Oh, Zippy.
But and so I think when someone's clearly full of shit, we got to call them out on it.
Do you not see like there could be kind of a middle ground where we say, hey, it is amazing you've come to Christ. Let us encourage you in your walk with a new Christian, while also like.
Yes, but then you don't get the feature on the Daily Wire. Being featured on the Daily Wire is that whatever is you're while also simultaneously whatever you're about to say, that's being on the Daily Wire. And shout out to Harrison Butker.
Come to Christ. Let us encourage you in your walk with a new Christian, while also like simultaneously not saying, hey, let's make this person our preacher.
Would you let a reformed pedophile buy kids in church? They said sorry. Would you
buy kids or near kids? Like buy them? No, I wouldn't let anybody buy kids.
Would you let a reformed pedophile buy kids in church? They said sorry. Would you let him buy the kids?
Buy the kids?
Mm-hmm, buy the kids. Would you let them in the church freely? A reformed pedo?
No, I don't think you can be a reformed
pedophile. So
why
are we bringing a reformed hoe who said she wanted to sleep with married men and love to get them to cheat around married men? No, you put them in the back of the church. You say, why don't you show us that you actually put your money where your mouth is, do some work, and then come back?
I am totally fine with that. And guys, we are right now, we only have 6 votes on who's cuter, and we're at 50-50. Hit that poll. Tom Brokaw said a reformed whore can't abuse kids, though. She absolutely can. Now, what she's being reformed from is not hurting children. And I agree that being reformed from, one type of degeneracy is not necessarily the same as reforming from this. I agree with you there. But a reformed whore absolutely can abuse children.
Say, why don't you show us that you actually put your money where your mouth is, do some work, and then come back?
I don't have a problem with that either.
So then I shouldn't have got this video.
We agree.
Jesus can't save these hosts. That's the issue, right?
Yeah,
I welcome the skepticism.
They have to save them. They have to at least delete the OnlyFans.
Well, people say she has deleted it now.
Okay, so she deleted it the day before the Michael Knowles interview. She was saved in December. She had 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
How is she wrong? How is she wrong there? Random Popcorn Accounts and my husband said the solution is for, quote, women to stop being lying whores. Well, I didn't say it, but I'll certainly dilly to your husband. I asked if I was included, and he said, no, not you. I love you. Of course. Valeria said Pearl is being so bad faith. She's just mad that promiscuous women can reform. Okay. Again, show your work. What is she doing that's bad faith?
Saved in December. She had 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. She raised her prices and didn't delete it till the day before. And then I'm still finding Telegram chats. And then the women, it's like
those, and I don't know if those look legit.
So
But yeah, let's give the benefit of the doubt to the girl who kept her OF up for 5 months after she was saved and then deleted it the day before. What are we doing?
Telegram chats. And then the women, it's like
those, and I don't know if those look legit.
So but my point is, what you should make sure that all your shit's at least down before you come out and start preaching if you really gave a shit.
And as an atheist who is looking to push in society the values that will make religion unnecessary, at least in the political realm, I completely agree. Because until I can do that, which is going to take time, it is going to take time. Until that, it has become very clear that there are not an overwhelming majority of people who can operate without a prepackaged moral system. And so that's what I have to do, is build that moral system. But before I can do that, Christianity seems to be the best answer. So that's why I don't like this watering down of Christianity. We need it. It's a good placeholder. It's shit, but it's a good placeholder. It's better than nothing. Burner Popcorn account said off topic, but I do like what Pearl is doing with her hair. If you saw her, saw videos of her 4 years ago, she doesn't even look like the same person. Fair enough. Valeria said it's all her tweets that are downright offended at the thought of a hoe reforming. Well, that's kind of what they're debating right now, is that Lauren is saying you kind of just throw out whatever is expedient, and then you'll do a video to be more nuanced, and that's kind of a grift.
Sure that all your shit's at least down before you come out and start preaching if you really gave a shit.
It's definitely sketchy, I would say. And I think the problem is with conservatives, like, so eager and desperate to find anyone that could potentially be on their side now. Like, you see Bill Maher, for instance.
Yeah.
If Bill
I'm going to be honest. I was not listening. I was just looking. Let's back it up. Okay.
Preaching if you really gave a shit.
It's definitely sketchy, I would say. And I think the problem is with conservatives, like, so eager and desperate to find anyone that could potentially be on their side now. Like, you see Bill Maher, for instance.
Yeah.
If Bill Maher, he's clearly a liberal, he'll say free speech is good, woke bad. Conservatives are like, this is our guy, even though he's like a Trump hater, clearly not conservative, a liberal.
He's just
I definitely agree that there is an issue of too quickly being like, oh yeah, look, see, these people are on our team. I definitely agree. However, the other side of this is that we have to remember that these people are coming from, I love how as soon as she's on screen, everybody's like, yeah, she's cuter. I knew it. I knew we were gonna pull ahead. Let's go, Isabella. But yes, these people who are coming from a woke mob cult, where they think if I have the wrong ideas, I'm going to be shunned forever. If they then in their own minds have to come to the right idea, there has to be grace. There has to be grace. We have to allow people who've been wrong before to realize that they were wrong and still be part of our team. That has to be a part of the conservative platform. Part of the message, the core of this political party has to be, hey, you probably had some stupid fucking ideas a few years ago, a few months ago, a few weeks ago, but as long as you agree with us now, you're good. Again, and the same thing with all the Christians. We're not going to put you on stage and say, here's the newest, the next president, this guy who walked away from the left last week. Of course not. But I'm willing to highlight when Bill Maher, super TDS, if he says something based, why am I not going to highlight that? I do agree with her saying that, oh, he's not like on our team, or like Anna Kasparian is another good example. But especially if we compare those two, where it's Bill kind of just, having one kind of correct position versus Anna, who really seems to be having an awakening. I think there needs to be room for us to say, yes, you were wrong before. And even a little bit of told you. But now that we told you, now that we got that out of the way, let's be right together and move this country forward. Oh, well, thank you. Barner said, Isabella looks like someone I could actually hang with. Lauren is the type who acts like she's everyone's mom. I can definitely see that. And this is just my type. Like, if she's short, that's my type. That is my type. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate those messages. Keep up the good work. Burns said, I can't believe I'm starting to like Anna Kasparian, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. That is what we need to not say that all your work is great, and also not to say that, oh, well, now that you agree with me, we're gonna kiss your feet. But it's just like, all right, bet. Acknowledge that you are now moving in the right direction. Isabella, if you got a sister, hey, send her my way. People said finding common ground with those you're usually at odds with is sure is delightful when you come across it. Indeed, and that is why I want to do that more and more and more and more and more. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're atheist, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, as long as we can do this thing that is the American experiment, as long as we can continue that, we're all good. We're all good. Come on, Zippy.
Conservatives are like, this is our guy, even though he's like a Trump hater, clearly not conservative, a liberal.
He's just not super woke.
But right,
but
we're
it's
just so
fun.
desperate. So that's why Nala was propped up by everyone.
But I want to show what's happens, because this happens in churches all the time. Right now, you make a video defending an OnlyFans chick, but Crowder couldn't get the benefit of the doubt.
I know. I've known Crowder.
That's a good point. I am not saying I agree with whether Crowder should have gotten the benefit of the doubt. But if you Christians are willing to give Nala Ray the benefit of the doubt, and Lauren's about to say, I've known Crowder for a long time. Where's she wrong? Where is Pearl wrong?
For defending.
And yes, I had my college girlfriend was 4'11". And it was not good when she was angry.
An OnlyFans chick, but Crowder couldn't get the benefit of the doubt.
I know. I've known Crowder for a long time. Like that's a different issue.
But
I don't know
but we all know what she did on the internet. She was getting tag teamed by two dudes 8 months ago.
But all the more reason why you should be willing to give somebody that you know the benefit of the doubt, unless, as we said before, she has some inside knowledge, which is like, well, I know for sure that this ain't what it is. Larry said that's because Crowder continues to demonstrate his character, and Nala was at the start of a drastic life shift. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh no, what she did on the internet. She was getting tag teamed by two dudes 8 months ago.
I think you should use her. I think the idea that whether or not she's truly formed,
who hasn't,
is immaterial to the fact that she's become a propaganda tool for virtue.
Yeah, but why would you want her to do that if she's going to go back later? What evidence, and this is why you have young men. I know you said it's just some young men are going to Orthodox, but by and large, men are leaving the church.
Right,
and if you talk,
they're leaving the woke churches and they're going back to the really traditional, like the Roman Catholic Latin Mass, the Eastern Orthodox.
And let's be honest. How long is that going to be a real trend that people actually are going to Latin Mass? Come on. You know that's a trend.
The really traditional, like Lutherans or Baptists, are seeing.
You have to make it more profitable for her to stay as a reformed individual. So if the issue is an OnlyFans hooker comes out and says, I am reformed, I've seen the light, and then prominent people say, we will never accept you, screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
I mean, I don't know if he took a nap necessarily, but remember that this show was supposed to be him as the moderator and him bringing people together to talk. It just happens that he inserts himself into every episode and it becomes him versus one of the guests, and the other guest just doesn't really say anything, or it's a 2v1. But this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be him just kind of, guiding the conversation and all that stuff. This is what it was supposed to be, and I think I'm the same way. But Tim has a hard time of letting the conversation happen. The breakdancing dad just dropped a whole ass documentary on Donald Trump. What? I guess we might have to cover that too. If you have not already, hit that subscribe. We got a bunch of stuff coming on up.
And then prominent people say, we will never accept you, screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
This is a good point. And I don't think that this applies merely, I'm going to go back. This doesn't apply merely to OF. This applies to anything, like we were just talking about, the grace of having the wrong opinions and then realizing that you were wrong and adapting the correct position.
Stay.
Like Lutherans or Baptists are seeing.
You have to make it more profitable for her to stay as a reformed individual.
And I don't like that use of the word profitable. I don't know if he actually means monetarily profitable. Because if he does, then I disagree. But if he just means better, more beneficial, then I do agree. Because even if it's not gonna make her more money than OF, but it might fulfill her more. You know what I mean?
More profitable for her to stay as a reformed individual. So if the issue is, an OnlyFans hooker comes out and says, I am reformed, I've seen the light, and then prominent people say, we will never accept you, screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
I
And then prominent people say, we will never accept you. Screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
She's not saved then.
Hey, shout out to our boy, Dr. Evil Genius. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Always, always, always a pleasure to see ya. You guys definitely should go and check out the Talking Shit podcast. And now that I just dropped the link in the chat there, now that I'm doing more short lives and don't have to spend as much time editing, I may be able to do a little bit more of the filthy casual MMA watch party. No promises, but keep an eye out. Welcome to the party, brother.
Say, we will never accept you. Screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
She's not saved then.
So again, if there's no way to come back, whether it's OF or pro-trans or even if going whatever the position is, if you're on the wrong side and then you're stuck there because people who are on the other side will never accept you, then it does make sense to just stay where you're at, even if you've changed your mind. We've talked about the clergyman. I wish I could remember the name of the group, but there's a network of clergymen who have lost their faith and now don't believe in the faith they preach, but can't just be like, actually, congregation, I don't believe this stuff anymore. This is very important to the people. And there needs to be an avenue. There needs to be an avenue. Brenda said we need fewer broken women with trauma. Well, and I mean, getting them away from leftism and feminism and all that bullshit will help with that. Yeah, that will help. Dr. Virginia said there should always be a way back, but it can't be used as a fallback when no one wants to pay for an E304's prawn membership anymore. Exactly. On point. Dilly do that. Exactly. Balance. There has to be a way back, but it can't be just like that's too wide of a but yes, agreed.
As a reformed individual. So if the issue is an OnlyFans hooker comes out and says, I am reformed, I've seen the light. And then prominent people say, we will never accept you. Screw you. She goes, there's no light for me. I can't live this way.
She's not saved then.
I'm saying do some work. Anything. My God, could you go to a convent? I mean, she was getting tag teamed by two dudes. So 8 months ago. So it's like, okay, could we send her to, I don't know, some missionary or something?
And so the response from the right should be like, wow, that's
I don't know. Keep her away from the married men. You want to
we judge them by their works. I think the response should be, we accept you, but let us see the fruit of Christ within your life. And I think people have been critical about, well, all the millions that you've made essentially leading young men to sin. I think it would be a great show of faith if she were to do something with that money.
Do something with that money. Donate that money to the Simps organization or something. Exactly. It's easy money, and they don't want to work hard or get money or get married. Too many women just want to do whatever with no consequences or accountability. And again, to be fair, many men have this mindset as well. It's just OF is not the avenue to do that. It's just playing video games and becoming a loser and I don't know what do losers do, but there's a lot of them out there. Save the Sims. The Sims need saving.
I think it would be a great show of faith if she were to do something with that money.
Exactly.
Whether it be a charitable, to a church donation, something like that. Maybe even specifically a men's organization, because that's the group that she was predating on and exploiting.
And that's exactly the point, is that as low down dirty that OF is, that's not even an option. That's not even an option for men. What percentage, just throw a number out in the chat. What percentage of men, if things were flipped, except that the men still had the men's bodies, but it was just that the man's body was seen as the way that the women's bodies were seen, and nobody really cared about female bodies. If that was the case, what percentage of men do you think would try to make it on OF? If it was how it is for women, but we were still who we are. It's just that this was deemed desirable. And he phones at 60%. I think it's gonna be right around there. What do you guys think? Hilarious said, how could Nala donate the money she made? It's probably not liquid, at least not most of it. Sure, but she can give away everything she has. What money does she need? She needs, if I'm not mistaken, I think she's living back with her parents. But if not, money for, an apartment, rent, or whatever. That's it. That's it. I don't know. Somebody said as a loser, this pisses me off so much. You're not a loser. You might be a loser. Everybody does this. Everybody spells lose, Loose. Why do people do that? It's not just you. That's why it pisses me off. It's everybody. This is this has to be the most common misspelling on the internet. I don't know. Rant over. But hey, look who we got. Harley Rose in the building. Welcome to the party. Always good to see ya. We're asking if the perceptions were flipped and men's bodies were seen as attractive and women not really. What percentage of men do you think would try to make it on OnlyFans? So Any Film said 60%. Nick said 0.005. Come on, bro. Come on. I'm closer to a burner saying probably 85 plus. They're saying at least half. Yeah, it's definitely up there. Oof. Burner's like, now his money's going to makeup and red hair dye. Oh my God. Maybe picking up some of those Trump Bibles. There you go. Shout out to Seabass. Zippy's morals will always lose. I didn't say I wouldn't. I'm just asking what percentage. We're not talking about me or you or any individual. We're just talking generally. All right. Why you got to come in? You got to come in hot, throwing shade. God damn.
Maybe even specifically a men's organization, because that's the group that she was predating on and exploiting.
And what you're communicating to young women is you can do whatever you want, say sorry, and here's your media career.
That's already what Christianity says. That's why it's bad. Because it talks about accountability, but all you, oops, my bad. I don't get it.
You're communicating to young women as you can do whatever you want, say sorry, and here's your media career.
That is the Catholic Church. That's right. You can go and ask for forgiveness, and if you truly mean it, it is granted to you.
And then,
like Zippy says, let's go back to what did they call it? I forget what they called it, where you would buy your certificate to heaven. That, at least then everything was on the up and up. Idifom said maybe he is a loser and not a loser. Who are you to judge? I'm the Indian Jesus. That is who.
Well, we should be advocating for women to try to change their lives, right? I agree. It's
well,
fake,
I don't have a problem with women changing their lives. What I find offensive actually is using Christianity as a grift.
I totally agree.
And I just find that offensive.
Except and
I said shit. Me too. Even as an atheist, as an anti-theist, I did spend 20 years fully believing in all this. And the latter of those years were spent, I guarantee, doing more spiritual, Christian, theological type work than most of you have ever done. I guarantee it. I'm not saying all of you. If you've done it, then good for you. I'm not talking about you. It's not a competition. I'm just saying, when you go past what the pastor's telling you every Sunday, there's a lot more. Indulgences. There you go. We need to bring those indulgences. Yeah.
Actually is using Christianity as a grift.
I totally agree.
And I just find that offensive.
And I agree with you, but I would say if people begin to believe that the better grift is not in being a hooker, but being a Christian, that's winning the culture war.
Yeah, and I think you could argue that, but those women tend to be so damaged, they tend to do the same thing. And what you see over long periods of time is now you have predatory women in the church.
No, I agree.
I did not think about that. Oh, hell no. Predatory women so you are going somewhere because you believe, these people have my values. This is a pun intent, not really a pun, but this is a safe space from all the wokeness, from all the girl bosses. Here we have, as Lauren would say, biblical patriarchy. And I can trust that the women here believe that the Bible is the guide to how I should behave when it comes to a man. I did not even think of that. Seems like y'all agreeing. Burner Popcorn accounts, the church has been catering to females for quite some time, including single moms. That I knew. I didn't put two and two together. That is a scary, scary thought. Because what's the average, the go-to conservative dating advice? Go to church, find a woman there. You're gonna end up next to Nala Ray.
See over long periods of time is now you have predatory women in the church.
No, I agree.
And
I
then
agree.
oftentimes young men that don't know better end up marrying these chicks.
And so I would agree with you on that, Patsy. I'm just saying, at the very least, her attempt at this grift, if it is a grift, shows that she believed the right side of history, and the profitable side of history is virtue, not degeneracy.
Okay, so he did specifically say profitable, and that helps put it in context that Tim is thinking about Nala thinking about making money, not about what is better for Nala, because we're not expecting that Nala is thinking what is better for Nala in terms of her whole life. It's just what will make Nala more money. So interesting. All right, we're going to go a little bit more, and then we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, and they start right out the gate. Lauren goes right after Pearl. So we'll see how far this goes, and then we'll jump back.
It doesn't mean she's not a degenerate. It just means she's being like, ooh, there's more money over here. That's a good sign.
My argument is I think it's funny how conservatives give an OnlyFans whore the benefit of the doubt, but they won't do that for Steven Crowder.
I agree. Now, I don't give either of them the benefit of the doubt. I think they're both pieces of shit, but if you're going to pick one, at least. No, she's wrong. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. She's right about the fact that people are, Christian conservatives specifically, are giving Nala too much credit too soon. But we've seen the pattern of behavior with Steven Crowder. So, yeah, I agreed when I heard it, but thinking about it for a second, I went the other way. Burner said, I even saw some TradCon women tweeting today, chastising men for being weak if they don't want to get married to a modern woman. The woke right is emerging. And, it's sad. So, where are we? So, Harley Rose is asking, who is Nala Ray? And she is an OLAF model, that was in the top 0.1%. Actually, I do not have safe search on, so we cannot be scrolling like that. And then she was saved and she became a Christian, and Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire gave her like a 2.5 hour platform to just interview her and talk to her about her transformation. And I think that is a co-signing. It's saying that Michael Knowles, who is supposed to be an authority in this Christian conservative space, he's co-signing Nala. Therefore, you should co-sign Nala. And then when theoretically, as Pearl brings up, that Nala goes back to whatever she was doing, then it's like, why did you hold that up as a good example? That is only going to water Christianity down even further. Scrape my teeth. Anyway, next, I missed the part about us being seen as the attractive ones. I wasn't thinking about it that way. I was imagining, yeah, okay, that makes a little more sense. Yeah, if we were the attractive ones, I think it would be a very high number of dudes be like, yeah, let's get this. Dylan said, Pearl is half right, but Crowder still hasn't come back from the whole Dave Lando beef, which was recently reignited due to the not gay Jared statement. Yep, and let's not forget about Stop Big Con and recording Jeremy Boring on what was supposed to be a friendly Christmas call. Patterns of behavior. So he says, give people the benefit of the doubt, but remember, they are human and will fuck up until they give enough of a damn to change. Humans change already. This is why Zippy don't like humans.
given OnlyFans whore the benefit of the doubt, but they won't do that for Steven Crowder.
I agree with that.
And I see that same pattern of behavior.
Well,
And the
I
reason,
feel that
and I
way with
see
An-
that,
I mean,
and
I
I
know
see
Crowder,
that
so that's
same,
like a
and
whole
I
thing.
see
But
that same pattern of behavior at churches across the country. I see
feel
these
that way
same.
with Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate is someone who he got rich, webcam industry. There's some people who are still very, very against him for being a pornography peddler. He has since, he's Muslim now. He basically still believes I did what I had to do. I had no money. So he hasn't really apologized for it. But at the same time, that's not the same person who he is today, but you still.
I don't know that that's the example that you want to give. Okay, so what do we want these women to do then? We complain if they put themselves out there, but if they decide to change their ways, we still complain. No, so you missed this aspect of the conversation. The nuance is that, yes, we want them to change them, but what Pearl is saying that before you put her on the Daily Wire and hold her up as an example of what you should do, let's make sure that she's actually doing what she says she's doing. Let's watch her do these Christian works, and then when she's done good things, let's talk about those good things in comparison to the bad things she was doing before. But if you can just say, "Oh, I'm Christian now," and you get a feature on the Daily Wire, what's stopping anybody who has no intention of changing to say to say they've changed their ways, get a whole bunch of attention on them, then just go right back to OnlyFans? That's what we're saying. Is that we don't want to incentivize this Christianity grift because of the fact that the core of having Christianity as a guideline for people's morality is necessary until I can fix it. Until I can fix the American identity, Christianity is the best thing that we have. And so the more it gets watered down, the worse the best of our society can be. So if she's doing everything fine, then great. It's more of an issue with the people, specifically Michael Knowles for highlighting her, and the people just automatically being, "Oh my God, she's amazing." Hold up, maybe she is, but do we know that yet? And so Pearl was saying, so Harley, this is to you. Pearl had asked Lauren, because Lauren kind of had the same perspective here. So Harley, would you accept that somebody who was a pedo, if they said that they were reformed and now they've been saved and they've given their life to Christ, should they be allowed in the church near children? That's a question for Harley. Hot girl says things we like. Oopsie, I'm a man. Get her, Lauren. Burner said, I'd rather women not become sex workers or hoes to begin with. It's certainly possible and doesn't have to be that way. We also need to bring back societal shame. Yes. And so those things will come from a level of, it should be that if you are a good Christian, or if we're going to zoom out, a good person, that you were already here. I'm asking Harley, why you got to do that? You are already here. We already had that conversation. If we want to get to a place where it is reasonable for people to not be doing these things in the first place, then we have to initiate the shame to begin with. Otherwise, what are we doing? We are not doing anything, right? So there is a lot more here, guys. We are coming up on that 2-hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
I had no money. So he hasn't really apologized for it. But at the same time, that's not the same person who he is today. But you still have conservatives who are they basically blacklisted him because of that. Meanwhile, Nala, they're open arms. Now, I think that maybe it's not the direct comparison because Andrew Tate is not a Christian. He is Muslim. But I do see that you have a point there. They're way more open to knowledge changing than someone like Andrew Tate changing.
Simps.
Yeah. We have this idea. We have this idea that women are born angelic and innocent until some bad man somewhere does something to her to make her become a bad lady. And then she can reform and we all clap and it's great. There's no grace for men like that. When men change their ways, they used to be degenerate in some way. Then they come to Christianity.
She's not wrong. And right here, I just was giving the same, as Lauren was giving the example of Andrew Tate. Now, I still think that's a bad example because I don't know how reformed he is. But that's exactly the point. It's well, let's see. Let's wait and see. Why do we have to immediately have an opinion on like, yes, this person's definitely going to be a perfect Christian for the rest of their life, or no, this is a whore, she's going to be a whore for the rest of her life. Chill. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. You can just wait and see. You can not know things. That's okay. Oh, you didn't know that? Yep. That was when he was in jail. He conveniently started being a Muslim.
For men like that, like when men change their ways, they used to be degenerate in some way, and then they come to Christianity. There's not as much applause. They don't usually do a podcasting tour. They don't usually come out with merch, and all this other stuff because we're seeing this as a trend, right? These ex-strippers, ex-OnlyFans girls coming to Christ. But
no, it's not over my head that her husband is one of these people who may be using Christianity as a grift. But that don't mean she ain't making her a good point.
We're seeing this as a trend, right? These ex-strippers, ex-OnlyFans girls coming to Christ. But my problem with it is it always comes with, donate to my ministry. Here's my Cash App. Buy my Jesus Loves You
for
shirt.
$200.
Right.
Told ya.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
Burner Popcorn Account said other countries that have stigmas for certain behaviors, sex work, divorce, children under wedlock, tend to have less of that behavior.
Bingo.
Pretty simple. Shout out to Rachel. And shout out to Indyville with the $5 Rumble Rant. Morty, come and get your treat. Hop. Let's go. Come on, we're doing a business here. Let's go. There you go. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. Any film, actually, never mind, I got it. Thank you. Very much appreciated. And of course, that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Thank you, sir. Harley said, I say no, but we hold predators against children differently than we do adult predators. Yeah, I mean, Funkmaster kind of messed that one up by throwing in the thing that we came to. But fair enough. Zibi says, as an intergalactic dark emperor, I could do the Islam grift and not have to change any. It's not hard. It is not hard.
With donate to my ministry. Here's my Cash App. Buy my Jesus Loves You
for
shirt.
$200.
Right,
I'm like, why can't you just read the Bible?
Like traditionally in my church, when we had Saint Mary of Egypt was one of our most famous and most venerated saints because she was probably the depths of degeneracy for a woman. She was like a prostitute. She was a nympho. And when she converted, she did not start a podcasting tour or a ministry or, something where you had to give her money. It was nothing like that. She went into the desert alone for decades and just like prayed and became very virtuous privately.
Yeah.
And generally what our church traditionally has prescribed for women who come from that level of degeneracy is something more like a monastic path or something where, they have to take a lot of time because it's not something you just flip a switch and now I'm good. It's like it takes a
Well, according to Michael Knowles, according to Nala Ray, according to your husband, actually it is, isn't it?
Yeah, can I say one more thing?
sanctification
Can I say one more
process.
thing
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
find annoying? I'm just going to put this out there.
You?
These people, these OnlyFans whores, keep like, oh, Pearl, I'll pray for you. I'm like, what did I do? I just said words you don't like. You got tag teamed by two dudes.
Like, I'll pray for you.
And I'm like, you can take your prayers and shove them because I know what you're
I'll pray for you means I don't like where this conversation is going and I don't have anything else to say. And I guarantee you I will not pray for you, but I don't want to talk about this anymore.
saying.
They got real mad at me when I called them hookers. That actually.
Oh, that was such a
The
funny
ho
tweet.
pronouns. You got the ho pronouns wrong.
Well, because there was a woman and she was like, "How dare you call my friend a hooker?" Which there's nothing wrong with at all. Then I'm like, then it's not an insult. It's a description. Like, she could have been like, "I think you are misdescribing my friend." Instead, it was like outrage. It appeared in a Hulu documentary. I'm like, dude, I think OnlyFans is just today's version of hooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to a like.
Obviously.
Tool hooking.
There-
Yeah.
When they didn't have the photograph, a guy would have to go to a building to find a woman to get a show, a burlesque show or something. Now, women are going on OnlyFans. And I would say people are asking, like, what's the difference between like stripping and OnlyFans? Why would you call that hooking? Because of the personal relationship that people think they're getting.
Yeah.
You go on the app and you think you're talking to this woman and she's giving you your pleasure and your titillation for money. I do want to clarify, though, there was some survey where they asked men, knowing that the majority of these OnlyFans, they call them models. Ridiculous.
I know.
So I'll just say this. Knowing the survey said, asked guys, do you care that you're actually sexting and having perverse conversations with men?
What do you think that people said? Do you care that you're actually sexting and having perverse conversations with men?
Right.
Who are being paid to do it. They
right.
said, no, I don't care.
Now, okay, I am not ever going to spend money on naked pictures. There's naked videos for free. I don't know if you know that. Psst. You don't need to spend money. But I can understand. I can understand wanting a level of personability, level of intimacy, maybe. But not caring that it's a dude. Why not just sext with your friend? You and your boy. Why not? It's both. You both save money on OF. You both pretend to be a hot girl on the other end. Or you take turns. That is twisted. That is twisted. Tit elation would be a great OF handle. Oh my God. Famous frequency 3 in a row. Dilly. You said indifference and not caring is the way, as the degenerates need attention. No, this is the bro. I triggered Gen X. Holy shit! The stream I did yesterday. Go look at the comments. There are paragraphs upon paragraphs of people saying, I think it's amazing. I think I had a very clear and balanced message, but the reason I bring that up is because this is what a lot of people were saying, that well, Gen X, we couldn't get past the boomers, and you don't know what the boomers were like at their peak age. Fair, but this is not the way. Indifference is how we got here. That's what Gen X is for. The indifference generation. And then it's what creates the need for attention is a lack, a desperation. When you have a normal amount of healthy attention, you don't become a degenerate that needs attention. Person says, that don't make no sense.
Beta.
Oh, wait, wrong one.
Gay.
These men care that they are doing it with women. You mean men? They're not doing it with women. They're not doing it with women. They wish they were doing it with women. And they know they're not, and they don't care. I've been what I would call desperate at times in my life. I'm willing to admit that. But at no point would I ever have been okay with finding out that somebody I was texting was a man. What are we doing? Shout out to Drag Blacker in the building. Welcome to the party. So all the women on that panel have gotten increasingly annoying over the years. And Lauren Southern flat out admitted she's blue pilled now. That is not true. She said that the Tradwife isn't all it's cracked up to be. She did not say she's blue pilled. Come on. But welcome to the party. So what do you think of that candidate for Valentina Gomez? The Don't Be Weak. I don't know who this is. What is it? Valentina Gomez. Oh. What do I think? Like what she looks like? I mean, I'm down with that. Is that what you're asking? Or did she say something that you want me? Oh, I can't see. Like I'm down with that. Or is that what you're asking? Or like, are you asking about, policy or something like that? I mean, she's sexy. Project VO said, sex with your boy. That better be a joke. Bro, if you don't care, how is it any different? How is it any different? You are paying to sext with a man and you're aware of that. How is that different than doing it for free? The exact same thing. Maybe you didn't hear it. Let's run this back.
So I'll just say this. Knowing the survey asked,
okay, Project VO, you listening? This is for you.
guys, do you care that you're actually?
Do you care that you're actually
sexting and having perverse conversations with men
Right.
who are being
Right.
paid to do it. They
Right.
said, no, I don't care.
They said, no, I don't care. So if you, I personally, Lutch, would very, very, very much care. But if you don't care, why are you paying money? Why not just put a Craigslist thing and be like, yo, you use OF and I use OF. It's men anyway. Let's exchange numbers. You pretend to be the girl one day and you pretend to be the girl the other day. How is that different? How is that different? I'm not doing either of them. I'm asking how that's different. Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I don't know. I don't know. Andrew Tate, man. Okay, interesting. So the trouble is caring is what the religious zealots have been doing for centuries. By not caring, you focus more on outcomes of behavior and not the behavior itself. No, sir. So what they've been, it's not that the trouble is not caring. The trouble is caring about the wrong things. The trouble is caring about, what does my Sky Daddy think? I know. But for simplicity, that's what you should not care about. What you should care about is what are the best outcomes of behavior and to create society. So it's absolutely not that people care. That is not the problem. The problem is that people care about the wrong things. No, I just learned about her right at this moment. What do you mean? Dragblazers said Lauren Southern made a whole video essay, which I watched, about how the right has to be more feeling and less factual. She's purpling the red pill with blue because she's now a single mom. That is a very different thing than saying that she was blue pilled. Project VO said Lauren Southern is a right-wing feminist. They all are, dude. They all are. They all are. Feminism goes much deeper than politics. Shout out to Indie Films. So we over here doing the Lord's work, keeping the Rumble channel alive. Thank you. Or yeah. I mean, the level of sophistication that you're going to get from an actual person, man or woman, is going to be, at that point, just pay for the person. If you're paying for a chatbot that's good enough, you may as well pay a person. If you're going to pay a person and there's other people, why not just trade? I don't have a logical reason why that doesn't make sense. Dragblacker said Jesse Lee Peterson would tell that entire panel that they haven't overcome the hell inside them. I agree with that. Holly Rose said they're lonely and dumb. That's how OF models make their money. Bingo. Does that make them predators? I say kind of yes, but that does not at all absolve the men. So yes, it does make them predators, but no, it does not absolve the men. Hey, the Man of Steel himself. Midso Mark in the... I said it again. Midmost Mark in the building. Said, sorry, just got here. Tradwife doesn't equal REKT life. They wouldn't call it traditional if those qualities hadn't already transcended time. Well, I guess we'll have to, refer to the trad wives here. But welcome to the party. Right now, they're talking more about Christianity and the grift or not grift, or is it a grift, or from OF. And we just came off the thing here that.
So I'll just say this: knowing the survey asked guys, do you care that you're actually sexting and having perverse conversations with men who are being paid to do it? They said, no, I don't care.
That's where we're at. So Project VO said, very different, bro. OF has the illusion of attention from women. Knowing it's a dude will rewrite a brain. However, I can see your point. We need to discuss this. Great video. Thank you. Yeah. Join the Discord. Follow me on socials at Indian Jesus Off, like official, and let's make it happen. Captain. Burner said there's a guy named Dollhouse Phil that makes realistic customized dolls. I mean, I think in the level of degeneracy, I think a doll is in the category, but definitely a lot lower than OF. I'll put that out there. I don't have a doll, but I think I would tell you if I did, right? I think I would tell you if I did. Maybe not. I don't know. This is going off the rails. So you said again, the trouble is society hyper focuses on appearance, not depth. So you have to construct a counter process to deal with how dumb humans are. I'm working on it. Give me time. All right, let's dive back in here.
Wow.
Men didn't care. They were like, doesn't matter to me.
Because porn makes men gay.
It does.
Yeah, it
literally
does.
does.
There's
It
actually an
does.
article on my
What? What?
They were like, doesn't matter to me.
Because porn makes men gay.
It does.
Yeah, it
literally
does.
does.
There's actually
I thought I heard it wrong, but okay.
an article on my Substack about how I think that happened. But this is Schrodinger's feminist, right? Women are strong and empowered when they're OnlyFans models. But also, if you call them a hooker, now she's an innocent victim, and you're mean because you're a
Or
man.
probably emotionally abusive if you say
This is not true. Men are definitely visual creatures, but to say men don't care about women's personalities or interests, that is so wrong. That is so wrong. And I think a lot of women do think this, which is why they don't take care of their personalities or find any interests. They just exist. We absolutely, the visual is the first thing. That is the first top priority. But the weight that's put on the other factors like personality and interest are very, 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 very high. Absolutely. Absolutely. Minmo said, I don't know, most people with that kind of shit seem like they're pretty proud of it. I don't know. Isabella is a real G there. We need to get her point here. Let's get her point in full.
But also, if you call them a hooker, now she's an innocent victim, and you're mean because you're a
or
man.
probably emotionally abusive if you
Okay, well, yes, if they're watching gay porn, then that makes sense. But even still,
say
I
that.
think women are more sexual than men. And the reason I
wait. We're not going to get any explanation on
Or
that.
probably emotionally abusive if you
But Schrodinger's feminist, right?
Did I
She's
miss
an
that?
innocent victim, and you're mean because you're a
or
man.
probably emotionally abusive if you say
I
that.
think women are more sexual.
Wait.
Now on my sub.
They were like verse conversations with.
Because porn makes men gay.
It does.
Yeah, it literally does.
There's
It
actually an
does.
article on my Substack about how I think that happened. But this is
We're just going to leave that there and just gloss over. All right. I mean, whatever. Any film said porn equals gay. Not if you watch lesbian porn. I mean, that's what I heard. I mean, is that the argument that because there's a dick there that like, I do not care enough to Schrodinger's feminist. Yep. I'm trying to find a more hilarious explanation for that name. Yep. Zippy loves Schrodinger. I said, okay, so you are interested in the purses I like and why I like them and why a $280 purse is better than an $80 purse. Actually, if we were in a relationship, yes, the reason why you are interested in the things that you like and the things that you find monetary value in, absolutely would be interesting to me. And so I'm not going to be interested in the purses, but I'm going to be interested in what you are interested in general. So if you're interested in purses and church and true crime, that's very different than being interested in going out to the club and getting dicked down by random dudes and stuff like that. So your personality and your interests absolutely matter to men. Your personality and interests maybe you're not your interest as much as your personality, but certainly your personality. So fine, I'll take the L and give you that entirely. Fine, men don't care at all what you're interested in. But to say that men do not care about a woman's personality is it's just wrong. It's just so very, very wrong. Shout out to Robin Page in the building. Welcome to the party. So these people are delusional. Is this what the right has come to? Unfortunately, I think so. But I am working very, very hard to change that. Welcome to the party. Pearl makes men gay. Most I can make more accurate explanation, but you couldn't get it. All right, fair enough. All right, let's just see what they are saying.
Yeah, it literally does.
There's
It
actually an
does.
article
Exactly. Thank you. No, I don't care about you're just spending $280 on a purse. Absolutely, that matters to me. Come on.
on my Substack about how I think that happened. But this is Schrodinger's feminist, right? Women are strong and empowered when they're OnlyFans models. But also, if you call them a hooker, now she's an innocent victim, and you're mean because you're a
Or
man.
probably emotionally abusive if you say that.
I think women are more sexual than men. And the reason I think that is because when media is catered to women, it's like pretty much sexuality is at the core of
Yeah.
it. So even
Call
we
her
were
daddy.
talking about
Name
podcasts
one
earlier.
pop star who's not a sexual.
Yeah, and as the
person.
media becomes more
Female
female
pop star.
focused, it becomes way more sexual. Where
Well, I
men,
would
it's
say
like
women get their
men-
power from sex. Like
Yeah.
that's how they
Yeah,
get into the
yes,
rooms.
yeah,
They
yeah.
sleep with their bosses. They get this information. Like that's really the only thing that women have above men is because women control the access to sex.
Right.
So men need to not have sex with these women because that's what's giving these hoes the power.
But
what I
most,
love about-
but most men can't, and that's the problem. Is women get sexual access from a much younger age, and they sleep with a small percentage of men. So most men are not sleeping around. So it's like again, we put the onus on what 5-10% of men that get sexual access at a young age, and then it's like conservatives.
I know. Well, actually, I was gonna say I was a late bloomer, but I was an early bloomer. But I was in a relationship. I was not any of you that had any bad experiences in high school or college, and it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I have to wear the burden of every man that you are interested in, even though you literally looked right over the top of my head.
Tell men, well, you guys are the bad guys for sleeping around, and the men get to like 22, they look for a wife. None of the women want to be wives. They don't want to marry them, and so you're saying, okay, don't have sex till what they're 30.
Yeah.
Good luck.
This is
Well,
another
tough
big
sell.
problem, right?
So Mimbo Smart said Schrodinger's feminist. You put a male and a female in a box, and the box being a sauna. If the temperature gets too hot, which you will never know, the likelihood of SA is destined to happen. If you don't look in the box, did the SA even happen? Sorry, Beavis, that is the new comment of the night. Dilly, dilly, do that. That is a good one. That's a good one. I like that. Any film said men should be very interested in a woman's personality. Stop ignoring the red flags because you are getting laid. Can someone go back 7 years and tell me that? Yes. Well, no, I can't go back in 7 years and tell you that, but we can certainly tell all the up and coming dudes, all single dudes, absolutely. Be very interested in her personality. Stop ignoring the red flags just because you're getting laid. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, sir. Drag Blacker said, I mentioned JOP, but it's funny how Lauren Chen and Pearl were both on his show at least once, and Jesse Peterson called out Lawrence for her views. That's what he does, ain't it? That's what he does. Okay, let's do a poll. Are you married? So, new poll from inspired by Burner Popcorn account. Are you married? Yes or no?
Marry them. And so you're saying, okay, don't have sex till what they're 30.
Yeah.
Good luck.
This is
Well,
another
tough
big
sell.
problem, right?
Tough
With the
sell.
trad con right, the Christian right, telling everybody, well, men and women both should be virgins until they get married. It's like, but people don't get married till 30, 31.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's women. And that's women picking it.
Here's the other big thing we need to think about. Women, even good Christian virtuous women, don't want virgin men.
I mean, I think that I'm not a woman, but
Need to think about women, even good Christian virtuous women, don't want virgin men.
true or false? True or false? Burner Popcorn account said married 15 years. Congratulations. No kids. Dragon Blacker said you shouldn't be having sex if you're not married in the first place. None of these women, not even Pearl, will say this. You don't need sex, idiots. I mean, it's been a couple years for me, and like I'm just like when you stop focusing on it, it's not a thing that you just like. Yeah, it's nice when it's there, but like just do other stuff, and you know when you need to hit the hub, hit the hub. It is what it is. Ollie said married almost 2 years now. Congratulations. First, I actually disagree with Rachel here. I would have preferred a virgin dude to a man whore. Is your husband a man whore? Are you letting out some dirty laundry right now?
Thing we need to think about. Women, even good Christian virtuous women, don't want virgin men. I wish they did, but they don't. If a man makes it to 25 as a virgin, even like the really nice girls at church generally don't want him. They still want the player, the guy that has experience, because the other women, it's like a signal we send to each other as women that he's successful, he's worthwhile because all the other women want him
Well,
too.
I don't think it's that Christian women don't want virgin men. Christian women want men who are highly sought after by other women. So what you would want.
All women want men who are highly sought after by other women. That's just a basic thing of women. Hey, shout out to the Funk Master General. Oh my goodness. Said I don't want the Overlord to think we are ignoring him. Yes, we can't keep him waiting. He can't even reach over. This lazy bastard. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. It is greatly, greatly appreciated, sir. Very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Christian women don't want virgin men. Christian women want men who are highly sought after by other women. So what you would want is like the Chad, like Deus Vult, kind of Knights Templar Christian guy with the big jaw, who's literally like, he has all these women and he's just like stoically trying to push them away.
Yeah.
But he manages to like succumb to your
Yeah, good
temptation.
luck.
It's the Chad meme.
I think that
literally
worked when we all got married at 18 or 20.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is
that
literally,
worked,
like,
but it's
the
not gonna,
fantasy.
if you're telling all the women that you must, and this is what happened to me, right?
What's the difference these days? What's the difference these days? This is my point to you. This is my point. There's no difference. That is what a church is. So we want what other women can't have. It makes us feel special. Yep, that's the name of the game. The name of the game.
Like
But it's
the
not
fantasy.
gonna, if you're telling all the women that you must, and this is what happened to me, right?
Actually, you know what? I'm just looking at the clock, and so they're going down this road. We kind of get their perspective. I want to go all the way back,
It's so
'cause they started hot. So let's do it. So we're gonna we are gonna go a little bit longer because you guys have been feeding the meter. Very much appreciated. But of course, if you want to keep it rolling, let's keep it rolling.
I
This
don't
is the very
disagree with
beginning. We're now 20 seconds into the thing.
everything Pearl says, but I feel like Pearl is someone who, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I feel like you kind of enrage bait people with your posts because you'll post something really like a super hot take on Twitter, and then like you'll make a video about it, and the video in turn is a lot more nuanced, a lot more I guess rational. So sometimes I feel like I'm trying to I'm struggling to see like what your actual views are versus maybe what gets the most traction on X. So I'm excited for this to have a conversation about it. But I guess the role of women in society is, you know, to be mothers, to be wives, to support their families. How exactly that looks is going to differ from people to people. That's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily associate with the trad movement. I feel like trad refers to specifically almost the glamorization and in some ways fetishization of maybe like rural 1850s middle America, at least on like what I see on TikTok. Whereas
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think it goes like from the man side, let me take that back. Not from the man side. I think in real life, if you're actually trying to do that, I think it's less about the aesthetic. But the TikToks that are like, hey, I'm a Tradwife and I dress just like this, and here's me baking that. I definitely think it's you know, what she's saying, an aesthetic. But yeah, there are very many women living this way, and again, they're not on the internet because that's not feminine.
as you know, I'm just a mom who works
Not that being on the, you know what I mean.
part-time from home and is basically trying to do whatever I can to help support my family.
Well, I would say there's character limits on X. So, I mean, you're not going to get a full opinion
Cope.
with like, I don't know, is it 60 characters? But
60? You think it's 60? You think it's 60? You're on Twitter all day and you think it's 60 characters and there's no extension to 280. You sure?
I don't know, what tweets are you talking about? And I have like 18,000, so I don't know. This is...
Well, we actually like I wanted to be specific here because I
You
did
brought the
pull some of the ones up. I
receipts.
sent them to you. I didn't want to like ambush you or
Yeah,
surprise
go
you or anything like that.
And why did you ask which tweets? If she already sent you the tweets, you know which tweets. So then you should be like, okay, so you sent me this tweet. So for example, this is one, I would pick the most egregious example, one that was a joke, or maybe I was farming. Like, yeah, I was farming here, obviously, but or whatever. Dragblacker said, trad lifestyle bandwagoning is just the rightest version of hippies in the 60s. Not mad. I think it's a little bit deeper than that, but I'll take it. I will take it. Yeah, super convenient. Yeah, so only 27% of us here are married, so mostly single and ready to mingle. Binmost Mark said, I'm not married, but my fiance is very much traditional. She assumes this lifestyle because she feels it is the best and most conducive way of living. Because she had positive, reasonable parents. Well, dilly to that. So yeah, she had reasonable parents who helped her instill these values in her from the beginning. going back to the nuclear family, having the father in the home, having these roles be filled in the way that they're supposed to. Dry Blacker said, Pearl simps for Crowder. Lauren simps for the sisterhood. Oh, man. I don't think she would be offended by that, but that's a critical hit. Dylan said, I'm sure Brittany Venti would have a field day with what Pearl just said here. Oh, Brittany Venti. Who helped instill these values in her from the beginning? Oh, yeah, we got that one. I sent for the truth. There we go.
Some of the ones up, I sent them to you. I didn't want to like ambush you or surprise you or anything like that. Let's see.
And the role of women in society. Sorry, I was thinking what the second question was. Well, I think it depends. Like, what do we want it to be, or what is it now?
Right.
And I think right now it's like, we're not really doing much. We're not really having kids. We're not really contributing to the economy when you look at output. So it's like, what do we want it to be, or what is it? Because I wouldn't say women are doing what you described now.
Okay, well,
he said, not all women can be trad. Modern society doesn't make it easy or an option for most people. Most men these days couldn't handle the responsibility of having a trad life, or a trad wife, or a trad life. Bingo. I completely agree. Which is why we in our soft guy era. Drizzle. Let's go. Soft guy era. If she ain't sending you the cash app for the haircut twice a week or every 2 weeks, if she wanted to, she would. Evelyn said, good parents, good relationship with mom, and a great relationship with dad are green flags for women and for men, for that matter.
One of the things that, like, I spoke recently, actually, with Rachel's husband, Andrew, and
boo. Let's pull that up just to see. Crucible, Lauren Chen, Procreate. Let's see if that brings it up. Come on. Andrew Wilson, maybe? I just want you guys, you probably saw it. But in case you didn't, really, it's not going to give it at all. Or give me 2 seconds. Well, let's, here, let's see what I'm scrolling. No,
Should a secularist man get married?
Okay, so this is the blonde girl. This is her husband talking to Lauren a few weeks ago.
Okay, Lauren. Why should a secularist man get married? Give me one good reason.
That's me. Why should I get married?
Well, I think that having children is a very good and very important one.
I agree.
Why should a secular man want children? Why would you want a secular man to have children?
So why would a secular man want to have children? Well, I want to have children because I want to pass along my genes. I want to experience family, a family and raising those children and having the bond, all of the normal things that normal people want to do. But then he switched it up. Why would you, Lauren? Why would you want Let's to have children? Let's having children? We can't have that.
Why should a secular man want children? Why would you want a secular man to have children?
Well, because I mean, aside from the general decline in birth rates, which I think is a
you want secularists to continue to reproduce? That seems like a good idea to you?
Yes, I think even if you are not Christian, you probably should have kids. We're at a point.
Is their marriage valid if it's a secularist marriage to begin with, Lauren?
Valid? No.
No. So you're basically telling them to sin, right, Lauren? Aren't you telling them to
I don't believe in sin.
Sin by telling them to get a non-Christian marriage and have children? Aren't you telling them to sin, Lauren?
Okay, this is, yeah.
What's that? Yes. You're telling you're telling people to sin, Lauren? That's your prescription? The whole time you've been beating the holy hell out of the red pillars, and the entire time they've been right, and you've been telling them to sin, Lauren?
That is who we're talking about. So come on up here. I will guarantee you that I will give you exactly the answer as to why you want secular people to have children. This is the problem with language, is that now we're not even talking about atheists. We're not talking, he didn't say atheists. He just said secularists. People in this country, in America, who don't believe what I believe should not have the right. We shouldn't want them to have children. Now, if we're talking about leftists, hedonists, people who have a specific ideology, okay, then let's talk about whether or not we want those ideas passed down. But the lack of an idea, it's just, I mean, you either get it or you don't. Either get it or you don't. Project VO said, I'm not married. However, I do believe men should understand the repercussions of getting married before getting into marriage. This is Pearl's take. There's no contradiction. I mean, I agree with that, for sure. Bimbo said, she's sending you money to get your hair done because she knows you'll follow through. Instead of being a man and telling her you don't like my hair, change your fucking mind. Signs of a man who can't be his own man and stand up for himself. Nah, she's sending me money because I'm the fucking prize. And if you want to be with me, then show me. If you wanted to, you would. Dylan said, Blondie's husband needs to rein it in. I will remind you that he is a born again into the Orthodox Church 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago. Children are awesome. Very rewarding experience. I would have more if possible. I said, shit, me too. Loki. Matt Walsh's Loki abusive cousin. Drag Blacker said, Wilson and all are false prophets Jesus talked about, yet they think they're such awesome Christian soldiers saving the Western world. Yep. Mimro said, I just had my second child 4 months ago. Hey, a dilly. Congratulations to that. There you go. Yeah, right? All that shit. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's sad. I said, didn't him and his wife get roasted over trying to traffic their daughter? What? I did not hear about that. Drop me a link on that one.
Like I spoke recently actually with Rachel's husband, Andrew, and one of the tweets that I mentioned that I thought was kind of strange coming from you was that basically you said evil comes from women. Andrew, in his interpretation, he made a very rational, very nuanced, actually, this is what she means. Is it?
And suddenly, I am now born again. I am born again. If only it would be so easy. I can just spend the next 6 months going super hard on religion and then just like, actually, no, you guys convinced me. Oh my God. And then I get on the Daily Wire and I get on Tim Cass and I talk all about, I didn't know. I thought I knew everything. But then I sat down and I humbled myself and I thought to myself and I heard a voice and it was Jesus Christ. And finally, I understood the purpose of my life, to give my life for his will. I could do it very, very easily.
Interpretation, he made a very rational, very nuanced, actually, this is what she means. Is it not true that there is a lower moral bar for women, blah, blah, blah. And it Andrew's smart guy. It made a lot of sense. That's not what the tweet was. And kind of funnily enough, you tweeted out later to clarify, Lauren, yes, evil does come from women.
Yeah, well, because I would just
shout out to Andy Pham and his son. Pure bloods, that pure blood sperm is gonna get more and more and more valuable.
look at every problem in society. It all comes from women.
To be fair, I just realized this the other day, but did you know that Hitler was made by a woman? That proves it.
Feminism over.
Well, it's like you look at the homeless. Most of them come from single mother homes. You look at school shooters. Most of them come from single mother homes. You look at criminals, rapists. Most of them come from single mother homes. You look at what happens when women get power. So when men get power, they build societies. They do awesome things. When women get power, we're just not very good with it.
I just want to hit.
Yep. His name is Andrew Wilson. So Dylan is spot on here about Andrew Wilson and many other people. The newbie bornos and recent converts that get invited onto these outlets are just the right version of the recent transgenders. There we go. Yeah, this is, you are seeing the split in the woke right. The woke right is, oh, well, they're Christian now. We have to, no, that's exactly what the transes do. They said he's a she now, so we got to use it. No, that doesn't change shit. Project VO. So you should do a debate on why secular marriage is good with Andrew Wilson. I can set that up for you. I just need the okay from you. You did describe yourself as a secularist. Would be a great debate. So I'm absolutely open to debate him. I don't know if I think secular marriage is something I necessarily think is good. I just think that it shouldn't be treated differently in a political realm than a religious marriage. So yes, please. Yes, please. Very, very, very happy to do that. Oh, okay. The transgenders. Okay. I like that. Shout out to Dylan Mulvaney.
Societies, they do awesome things. When women get power, we're just not very good with it.
I just brought up Hitler. I mean, I kind of feel like there's a lot of bad dudes, you know?
Well, yeah, but there's also bad queens, right? If you look at queens the last 500 years, women are more likely to wage war. Women are way more violent with power. And we see that in society. Look at what women are doing in the court system today. What is more evil than breaking up a family? And women do that all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say most problems in society come from women.
So that's interesting because
Agree or disagree with Pearl there?
I watched your conversation with Michael Knowles, which I thought was really interesting. And in it, you were very adamant that people need to take responsibility for their own actions. So when it relates to women, it's not really an excuse to say, oh, well, feminism brainwashed me. You still made the decision to sleep around. You still made the decision to get an abortion.
I think if you get an abortion, you're responsible.
Okay.
Right?
Isn't
Poor J-Lo. Oh, I genuinely feel bad for her. I genuinely feel bad for her. Poor J-Lo. Yeah, man. Hit me up on Twitter's the best place, or wherever. But Indian Jesus off. Let's set it up. Hey, we got a video. Let's see what we got. Wait, does it say the does it say the N-word? I'm not. We might have to dance around that. All right, let's see.
The only reason that I'm even making this is because you went after kids, my kids specifically.
They're not his kids. This is baby daddy number 1 and 2. All the kids he has brought up in this video were not his kids. Addict Andy is baby daddy number 3.
People have used the death of my son to go after me with it in order to hurt me.
This is his wife's son. He is purposely framing this as they are his kids so that he can use these kids as a deflection to criticism. And yet I'm the sick one. He married Sloppy in December of 2012. The article on this accident happened December of 2015. He was only married to her for 3 years at this point. So for him to sit here and pretend that this is his kid to garner more sympathy is really disgusting. The 10-year-old was unalived at the hands of a 14-year-old friend. And what is your sloppy wife doing allowing her 10-year-old son to hang out with a 14-year-old? So why am I not allowed to point out that that's irresponsible?
Damn.
That's not me attacking the child. That's me attacking your sloppy wife's parenting. I can't believe that he actually released this video. Does he listen to himself? He's so bad at lying. In the last video, we covered a couple.
All right. Well, obviously, we're not going to go through the whole video, but shout out to Harley Rose. I think I got to add that to the videos to react to playlist. Maybe tomorrow, or sometime soon. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Shout out to Susan. I don't trust Brittany Venti. Okay. So we got a little back and forth. Fair enough. Harley said this whole drama is wild. You could do a whole stream about this, and I will. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's dive back into what we got here.
women, it's not really an excuse to say, oh, well, feminism brainwashed me. You still made the decision to sleep around. You still made the decision to get an abortion.
I think if you get an abortion, you're responsible.
Okay.
Right?
Shouldn't we have that same standard when it comes to the rapists, the men? You made a decision, you're responsible. It's not really like, oh, but my single mother.
Yes.
Like many people have,
and they are responsible. They go to jail for it. But you have to look at, there's significant differences between single mother and single father homes. And I can't help but notice that all of the men that seem to lack morals, they were raised by a woman.
Right. But is the answer then that evil comes from women? We are kind of leaving out the fact that, a man actually left the parent or his family in that situation. There are some situations where a woman doesn't want the man there.
But most of the time, men don't leave. Women are the ones that overwhelmingly leave. And if you really dig it, if you actually do the work and interview men that are known to be like deadbeat dads, most of the deadbeat dads don't really exist.
I mean,
They're exceptions. They're not the rule.
Yeah, I think does anybody here personally know somebody who their father just left? Like, I'm not talking about there was a bad divorce and it's custody issues, like just dipped out. I don't think I know anybody. I know some people in some shitty situations and some terrible households, but I don't think the whole like went out for cigarettes and never came back. I don't think I've ever met. I mean, I don't know the experience, the childhood of everybody I've talked to, but still. Any film said evil doesn't come from women, but children need fathers desperately. I can definitely agree with that.
So,
and if you actually do the work and interview these guys, there's men that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting for their kids. And unfortunately, we're in a society where women can claim abuse. They can say he emotionally abused me and not see his kid for years.
Real quick, what's the stat? I know that there's stats on women initiating divorce more, but how do we say that, fatherlessness is predominantly driven by women? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
There you go. See, we don't got to agree on everything as long as we can have the conversation. There you go.
Because women are choosing to leave, and the number one reason is irreconcilable differences.
But that's when you're talking about single mothers who are a result of divorce. If we're looking at single mothers who were never actually married, it's a very different group of people.
That's even worse. That does not put women in a better light when we start talking about the pairs that aren't even getting married first.
The whole point is women have all the power here. We have a million choice. You get to choose whether or not you get pregnant. Abortion's legal. So we are 100% in control of who's born. So there is zero excuse to make a kid with a guy that's not going to stick around. Zero excuse. None.
I would also say there's zero excuse for a guy to not stick around.
Well, but the issue you're getting is
I agree with that. However, but I think she's about to say it.
And you're basically saying, but what about the women, though, when we're talking about the man leaving?
But the difference is men cannot opt out of fatherhood. Women can opt out of motherhood.
And I think
that's not what I was going to say, but fair point.
We would both agree that you should not be able to opt out of motherhood.
But we can. And it's not my point, but should, whatever. Abortion's legal. It's here to stay, unfortunately. I don't say this because I'm happy about it, but I mean, in the UK, they're introducing a law where they want to make it legal up to birth.
That's a good point. I done told y'all, as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, I was like, conservatives, you fucked up. You should have let sleeping dogs lie. We are not going to get a federal ban. That is not going to happen. Now, there are more babies who will die at later points in their development because we don't have Roe v. Wade. And definitely do not have reproductive freedom. Absolutely not.
So abortion is legal. And right now, men are not able to opt out of fatherhood. Only women are.
Only socially, not physically. Women in the United States overwhelmingly have the right to abort.
Correct.
Or are allowed to abort.
Right.
Men don't have any say whatsoever.
Right.
But socially, I looked it up. It says, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20.2% of fathers, about 7 million, are absent dads. They don't live with their minor children.
Not living living with them is not the same thing. So it says, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20.2% of fathers, or about 7 million, are, quote, absent dads, meaning they don't live with their minor children. This is in contrast to the roughly 34 million fathers who have at least one child under the age of 18. Quote, absent dads are more likely to have never married than to be living with their own parents. So this isn't fathers who have chosen to run away. Oh, sorry. Other statistics about fatherness includes 15% of fathers with annual family incomes of $50,000 or more live apart from a child. 39% of fathers apart from a child. 57% of Black children, 31% of Hispanic children, and 20% of white children live absent their biological fathers. So yeah, this isn't addressing the leaving. This is just addressing the child's perspective of, was daddy there, which again is a very important thing, but not what we are talking about. Drag Blacker said, abortion is treated the same way as slavery. Compromise on slavery is seen as unfathomable and evil. Same with abortion. Okay. So you want more abortion then? Like that you can have your morals, but the practical reality is the practical reality. So you can feel better about more babies dying because you said no, but more babies are dying at later points in their development. That is the reality. You can twist it to make you feel any way you want. But fetuses were in a better position before Roe v. Wade was overturned in most places.
The U.S. Census Bureau, 20.2% of fathers, about 7 million, are absent
I
dads.
agree.
They don't live with their minor children.
I agree. But that doesn't change the fact that it's reality.
So
Right, but why?
Right. So
Right.
this stat doesn't literally mean that 20% of fathers are like getting up and saying, later, kid, I'm going to buy scratchers, and then disappearing. But my point was just that of this, you have men who are like, okay, you're having a kid, I'm leaving, you'll never see me again.
Well, but you don't understand the circumstances, because a lot of times women make men dads that don't want to be. They're like, this is something casual. This is, situationships are really common.
Shout out to Daisy and Walter Weeks.
They know that man will never commit to them, and yet they still make the choice to have his kid. I think in those situations, if we can legally opt out of motherhood, they should be able to legally opt out of fatherhood. We have all the power now. Don't make a kid with someone that doesn't want to be a father.
I see. You're saying
I think that applies equally to, and this is why I don't advocate for promiscuity. Don't sleep with someone that you are not prepared to have a child with.
Right. We're past that, Lauren. We already have agreed on that. And we're saying now, even though you and I and everybody agrees with that, other people don't live that way. And so just like the what I was saying about Drag Blacker's comment here, is that you can say all the things, the nice things, and this should be, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But if you're not dealing with practical reality as it is, then the evil that exists is not going to be addressed. That's just not gonna work.
But
what's happening?
Is what
That's like, this isn't a dream world. This isn't like Make-A-Wish, society promiscuity is going to go. It's not.
But
so I'm talking about what's happening. Go ahead.
Are you saying that a woman who sleeps, like, let's say a woman, we'll start light. She sleeps with a guy, gets pregnant, and then.
Well, hold on. So Harley's saying responsibility goes both ways. They make contraceptives for both parties. Agreed. What we're talking about is a situation where, without the man's consent, he is, we just had the thing with Drake. This is a common thing with athletes where they tell you, make sure you flush the condom, because if you put it in the garbage, she will fucking go and put her leg up. Oh yeah, I got the good stuff. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about two people who were, just horny and had unprotected sex. Yes, they are both responsible. But again, now we're moving past, okay, yes, they are both responsible. But if both are responsible, why is only one allowed to shirk that responsibility? I'm not saying it's a good thing that men would shirk that responsibility. But we can't have it that only one sex can shirk the responsibility and the other one has to that's not how we do laws. So women should only be able to have one or the other, not both. Child support or abortion on demand. Oh, that is a good one. Which do you think people would pick? Which would they pick? I think I know. I know what I would vote for, but I'm not sure. Because I think, so which would they pick? According to a Burner Popcorn account, women should only be able to have one or the other, not both. If they had to pick, would they pick child support to keep? So we got to keep. Okay. Zibby said men need the pills so badly, then a lot of this nonsense would go away. I think I think we learned a lot with women being on the pill that I don't think anybody should be on the pill. So I don't think that's the way to go. Like we see how much hormones and all that good stuff has been messed up in women from taking this pill. So I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is stop being a whore, man or woman. Be with somebody that you want to be with because you want to be with them, and then have sex because of that. Burner Popcorn account said, I voted that they'll take the money. They'll take the money over the right to abortion. Really? Okay. Fair enough. Burner Popcorn account said nobody should be on the pill. Yeah, I agree. I do not think that is the way. And again, nobody, men, women. I don't think that is a good way to go. Now, I don't know the ins and outs about like an IUD. My ex-girlfriend had one of those. And I mean, it wasn't super nice to, you know, to poke into it. You're not expecting that. It's all soft in there, and then, you know, but wasn't the worst thing in the world. I'll tell you that.
A woman, you know, we'll start light. She sleeps with a guy, gets pregnant, and then realizes this guy will leave her, doesn't want to be a dad. You're saying she should get an abortion?
I'm not.
That's an interesting thing to bring up too, is that people do change. People change when you know, when the situation changes, people will switch up. And again, I'm not saying that is right or wrong, just saying that people will do that.
And then realizes this guy will leave her, doesn't want to be a dad. You're saying she should get an abortion?
I'm not saying should or shouldn't. I'm saying women have the choice to right now. Men do not have the choice to opt out of fatherhood.
Yeah, so she's this is actually good. This is actually good because she is refusing to have She's refusing to have the argument on their terms. So they're talking about the morality of abortion, whereas she's talking about the distribution of rights. Those are two different things. That is important. If you have especially if you have a point like this where how do I explain this? It's not like just I think abortion is wrong. It's like with all these caveats, and in this situation, then you have to make sure you're saying, no, in this particular circumstance, I think this. And so shout out to her on that. Let's see what we got. The home really fucks with your entire brain. You don't even realize it's happening. Yeah. Do not recommend. Do not recommend. Talk to a doctor. I am not a doctor. He said, true, but assuming they can nuke the sperm for short periods of time without secondary effects. But yeah, the normal pill is COVID vax level insanity. Yeah. No, thank you. I'll be celibate. Dragwagger says, Hollywood and pop culture have spent decades telling us that society is hypocritical about sex, yet normalizes non-judgmental sexual degeneracy and promiscuity as normal and feminist. Yeah. It do be like that. It do be like that. OD.
Women have the choice.
And it's just a matter. It's just a matter of being aware that yes, this is happening. This is what it is, and that's why it's reasonable for her to be having this particular conversation that men should be able to opt out of fatherhood, not because men should morally be able to opt out of fatherhood, but because legally we have to, we got to make it even.
Choice too, right now. Men do not have the choice to opt out of fatherhood. Should or shouldn't? It's almost like, okay, I mean, this is where I get frustrated with conservatives. It doesn't matter what I say. Women are going to abort their kids. It's not going to become illegal. So if we're in a society where we can legally not be mothers, if we don't want, why can't men legally not be fathers?
I get that.
Yeah. So it says men shouldn't be able to opt out of fatherhood because the risk of fatherhood is the only thing you can use to hold men responsible for being promiscuous. So what are we using to hold women for being promiscuous? Nothing. So why should men be held responsible for being promiscuous if women are not being held for being promiscuous? This is precisely the imbalance we're already dealing with. So you want one imbalance. You want to trade one imbalance for a different imbalance. And maybe you have an argument as to why that's a better imbalance, but that's still an imbalance, which is what we're discussing.
Not be mothers. If we don't want, why can't men legally not be fathers?
I get that.
Yeah.
But the question I'm thinking of is you're putting a lot on women as those who are responsible for single parent, like single mothers. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to understand, you're saying because women can choose not to be a mother.
Yeah.
You said something to this effect.
Yes.
And the guy can't. That means the woman has decided to have a child knowing the man will not be there.
At times, yes. At times.
Okay, that's not where I was going. But again, it's just about if you have the right to do a thing and a man doesn't have a right to do a thing, then either nobody should be able to do that thing or everybody should be able to do that thing. And if you're not willing to say nobody doing it, then everybody has to be allowed to do it. Why would we allow abortion, which is literally murder, and then say, men, you can't keep your money? What? That don't make no sense.
So I guess my concern then is like, let's say there's a woman who deeply loves a man.
Okay.
And she says,
abortion.
Let's get married. He says yes. And then they do. And then she says, oh, hey, you know, on our honeymoon, I got pregnant. And he goes, no way, I'm not doing this. I never wanted to have kids. I'm filing for a divorce immediately.
Right. So again, Harley, in that situation, she has an out. She can decide, no, I don't want the pregnancy. I don't want the child care. I don't want any of that. They don't have shame for the death. They don't see it as death. It's just a thing that you do. And then you make a cake. So again, just because you and I personally have are passionate about the wrongness of abortion, it's very clear that they don't feel that way. So there is no shame and death and illness for women. There is no pregnancy and childcare if they abort. Okay, well then maybe it makes sense why we should have more on women to not be promiscuous than men. You're making the opposite argument. Well, we don't keep hold women responsible, and you say women have a higher risk of being promiscuous, but we should be harder on the men.
What?
The math ain't mathing, girl.
What is the option? Does she get an abortion or does she become a single mother?
She can pick what she wants.
Right, but
Well, my point is
that doesn't put the responsibility on her. It puts it on the man.
no, I still think it's on her because we have 100% control. You can track your cycle.
So
you have Plan B. You have so again, if
Right, she married a guy she loved. She thought they
Okay.
were gonna have a family, and then he betrays her.
okay, I've never met a chick this happened to that had like a real story with facts and evidence. I've never met one.
How would you feel if you didn't have food yesterday?
So it's not overwhelmingly happening. That's one. And two, you generally, if a man marries a chick, he wants to have a kid with her. Generally speaking.
Generally, I
Yeah.
do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think.
But again, shouldn't, you know, I think that if women have the right not to be mothers, men should have the right not to be fathers. So
That's it right there. That's it right there. If women have the right not to be mothers, men should have the right not to be fathers. I don't think anybody should have the right not to be a mother if you engage in, or father, if you engage in the behaviors that will lead to you being a mother or father. However, we are a nation of laws, and as Burner Popcorn Account is saying, fair is fair.
if he should be able to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this kid's life. I want to opt out of child support for 18 years. You want to have the kid? Good luck.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's
It's not like the government ain't going to give her tons of money.
correct, like morally.
Exactly.
But right now we can do something. We can get abortions. We can opt out of motherhood. They should be able to opt out of fatherhood.
And then the other part of it is that if men are able to opt out of fatherhood, then that is a bigger incentive for women to choose the right man in the first place. Harley said, no, I'm saying men's only risk to being promiscuous is fatherhood. Men don't get pregnant. They don't risk death. They don't have very low and almost no shame from society. Okay, but as you just previously said, women have a way higher risk of doing so. So if you have if you are doing something that is risky, that demands a more shame than doing something that is not as risky. And so we're talking about laws versus public opinion. The laws need to be equal. The public opinion does not. The laws need to be equal. The public opinion does not. Zibby said, I mean, if men could opt out of child support, what would the woman do? Get more money from the government. Which, again, it definitely a mess. But that's why we shouldn't let anybody be doing this stuff. But we fucked that up already. And so, again, if we're in this situation and now it's like, oh, well, I got to be on heavier government assistance, that's all the more reason to be careful with who you are sleeping with. All the more reason, because now you can't get his child support, especially if we add in the factor of gold diggers and baby trappers, because obviously that is not a significant portion of the population, but it's enough that it's we're talking about in this conversation. And so most people aren't out here looking to baby trap, or most people aren't looking to get somebody pregnant and dip out the door, obviously. But it does happen, and when it does happen, legally, we have to have a fair way to address it. Nah, man. Thank you. Next is when I was 21, 22, the woman I was dating had a thyroid problem that was helped by the pill. I didn't know all the information, but her doctor explained it, and her parents agreed it was healthier. So, I mean, I'm sure there's instances where that is true, But also, doctors used to prescribe heroin, and doctors used to do commercials for cigarettes. Take that for what it is. Burner Popcorn Account says men are currently dealing with the Me Too culture and being forced to pay 18 plus years of childhood support. If women didn't have as much of a social safety net, maybe they would start to be more selective with sexual partners. Exactly.
Do something. We can get abortions. We can opt out of motherhood. They should be able to opt out of fatherhood.
I mean, they can opt out of fatherhood by not getting people pregnant.
So can she. She can opt out of motherhood by not getting pregnant. That part is already fair. But now, once she's pregnant, now it becomes unfair. Well, what am I doing? What are we doing? Oh, all right. Is it too much to ask for women's not to just be 304s? Apparently.
Right, but
so that is very, very possible. Without abandoning the child, and that's the thing. Like, the child does not have the ability to opt out of needing basic care, comforts, and things like that.
And true, which is why we shouldn't have gotten ourselves so far down this road of women shirking their responsibilities.
And that's true, but my point is, having unprotected sex, that's an equally irresponsible decision. We can agree, right?
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, but my point is, after that happens, the woman has the plan B option. She's the only one that can guarantee she took the plan B, right?
Yep.
Then she had the option before also to be on birth control or not be on birth control. Many women lie about that.
I'll put this back up.
And she has the option to get an abortion. Now we're going close up to birth.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how you argue against that. Holly said, women are already at higher risk, so why should women pay more than men when pregnancy happens? Because they are higher at risk. So if you're at a higher risk, you should have exactly you should have the incentive not to do risky behavior. If it's not risky for men, why would we stop men from doing something that's not risky? So women are already at a higher risk. So why should women pay more? Nobody's saying pay more. Who said pay more? Did I say? I'm pretty sure I didn't say more. Did one of you guys say pay more? I didn't say pay more. You're adding that in. We're talking about equality here. But so why should women pay more when pregnancy happens? They shouldn't. It should be equal. Wouldn't it be legally fair for men? Yes. Since the men can't. Wouldn't it be legally fair for men to pay equal to what women suffer through monetary? Since the men, no. Because you understand what what comes with having sex when you have sex. And so the nature is not fair. Nature is not fair. The laws have to be fair, but nature is not fair. So women, as you said, are at a higher risk of having sex in the first place. So for women, it should be a much bigger decision. Are you going to have sex? Because of the fact that you are at a higher risk. If you are a man, since you have a lower risk, it may not be that big of a deal if you do something, even though there's still risk. And so because women, that's like saying people who drive faster, they're more at risk of getting in an accident. So wouldn't it be fair that the good drivers should have to pay more?
What?
No. The people who are doing the damage should have the incentive not to do damage. If you have more damage that you can do, you need a higher incentive not to do that damage. If you have a lower incentive, or if you have lower risk, then you don't need as high of an incentive not to do that thing. And if you choose to engage in a behavior that you know the outcome, and that outcome happens, why should a man be punished for that?
And she has the option to get an abortion. Now we're going close up to birth. As long as we have those extra options, I think men should have the option to not be fathers. Do you think that's unreasonable?
Yeah, I do. And I've listened to you talk about child support and child custody. And I agree with you that if a man is being kept from his child, it is simultaneously unfair to say you have to pay for him, but you're not allowed to visit him. I don't think that's right. I think you're getting the worst of both worlds there. And I do agree that custody should be 50-50 off the bat. Like, that should be the presumption.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't lose rights to your child just because you and the mother are divorced. But I don't think you can essentially opt out.
Explain how the man does the damage to the woman. If we're not talking about our pay, then this is wrong. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are wrong unless we are talking about RPay, which is not what we are talking about. We all have agency and should be incentivized to make the best choices. But we do have a choice in most situations. Just because we both have a choice to make, like, again, if we have, take it away from all of this. If I have $1,000 and I play the lottery, well, that's not really a high risk because if I lose, then I still have more money. If I only have $2, I shouldn't spend that money on a lottery ticket. There's different scenarios, different levels of risk. So you would say, hey, if you only have $2, maybe, yeah, really, are you sure you want to do this? Whereas the guy with $1,000, yeah, whatever. You lose, you lose.
Divorce. But I don't think you can essentially opt out of a life that you created. And when it comes to abortion, I don't think, similar with women, that you should be.
No. Not in the sense that it is him doing it. And no, this is a mutual decision. Again, unless we are talking about RPay, which I am not talking about, then no. They make it together. They come together. You do one part, and he does the other part. Again, unless you want to take agency away from women and saying that women do not have agency in having sex, and that is a man who is doing an action, and she has no involvement. If you want to take women's agency away, you go right ahead. But I am not going to say that women have no choice when it comes to having consensual sex. I'm not that. You can die on that hill if you want to.
Able to opt out of the life that you created. So
right,
what we
but
have
it doesn't
now,
matter what you think. It matters what's happening.
Right.
That's
so
the point.
right now, what's happening is immorality when it comes to abortion. But I don't think the way to fix that is to also extend immorality to child support. Like, this is a life you've created. You've both created. You both have responsibility to it.
Whose morals?
What do you mean?
Because it just turns into a morality police, and that's like always with these conversations.
About abortion?
Correct. Well, no. I'm talking about sex outside of marriage, that sort of thing. But let's not play pretend. 3% of people are waiting till they're married. That's not really common. I mean, was anyone here a virgin on their wedding night? Anyone? No? Okay. So why do we play pretend? All right. So it's like,
well, I think this gets to the heart of it. We can sit here all day and talk about what we think ought be or not ought be.
I missed you, Harley.
But the problem is that you're not going to fix any of this without patriarchy. When we threw patriarchy out the window, we sexually liberated women. What we did was throw off a balance of power that was already there.
Yup.
Women historically have been, the gatekeepers of sex. Every one of us sitting at this table has twice as many female ancestors as we do male ancestors. So genetically, women had this great advantage. Then we have our youth, our fertile years, where we have tremendous sway, tremendous influence and power. And I think that's temporary on purpose. What happens when you give women equal political power and equal social power to men, and you remove the father as the head of the household, which all patriarchy means is rule by the father. When you throw that out, this is the mess you end up with that's impossible to fix, because what are we going to do about all of this out of wedlock births? And
my point is,
this is crazy what Nick's saying here. Seen too many men forced to pay child support even after DNA tests showed he's not the father of any of her kids. It's justified because he's currently with her, therefore his responsibility.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's fair, right?
We have all this freedom, so take the responsibility that comes with it. So if right now we have the freedom to get an abortion, doesn't matter what we want, doesn't matter what should be. I don't agree with abortion either, but right now it's legal. So if that's what we're doing, then take the responsibility of raising the kid. That's what I say.
So, do you all agree with the idea of patriarchy?
Yes.
But I mean, how would you do you?
Oh, I'll put a caveat. Biblical patriarchy.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Biblical patriarchy, as Andrew Wilson would have, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but oh God, I was so mad at that clip.
I was going to ask, how are you? What's your view on the idea of patriarchy?
I don't think it'll ever happen in my lifetime. I think it's a good idea, but I wouldn't predict that would happen in my lifetime.
Sure.
I'm trying to think how to phrase, because I'm curious. What kind of timeline would you think if we were going to get back to a what we would call a patriarchy that would be something good? Like obviously we we can look back at history, and there's definitely aspects of the past that we don't want to bring into the future. There was obvious sexism that isn't funny. There's obvious racism that wasn't funny. But for moving forward and we're getting back to patriarchy, I'm wondering, number one, exactly what that would look like and how long would it take? Because they're talking about, would it happen in my lifetime? And I don't know. It took us, 70 years to get here? I don't know. What do you guys think? Buckmaster General said, I knew someone that waited until she was married. She got married at 39. Damn. I had planned on waiting till I was married. I was a good Christian boy. And I moved to this this Methodist church, and I meet this girl, and I'm a 15-year-old boy. I can't help myself. Hey. Burner Popcorn account said, after what we saw in the past week, I'm very reluctant to vote for any female politicians. Women in leadership has been a real disaster. I mean, I don't necessarily think it is a I definitely think there are women who could do well in these roles. I think, as much as I'm trying to be respectful here, but I like Lauren Boebert. I like MTG. I think they're a little extra, but not the worst thing. Yes, I said
Haram!
I am terrible. ZBC, you create other problems when you ban a thing. So banning or over-regulating abortion is a dead end. Well, it should be, those should end pre-second trimester. Then give fathers the ability to opt out. Makes sense to me. Not saying that out loud. So feminism has destroyed critical thinking on many levels. Yup. All right, let's go back in for a little while, and we are going to head over to the after party.
How would each of you, would you define patriarchy similarly? I think, Lauren, you
right, because I guess just blanketly patriarchy, I think that the father's role at the head of the household, it comes from God, and it's valid insofar as he is acting on behalf of God, trying to lead his family in a godly way. Because obviously people are going to say, like, what about this abusive husband, blah blah blah. It's like, all right, well, if he is not conducting himself in a manner that aligns with the way Christ treats his bride, the church, then that's actually not biblical patriarchy.
So this goes back to all the way at the beginning when we were talking about Crowder, and she's bringing up this biblical patriarchy, which is when Pearl said, do you have the right, Lauren Chen, do you have the right to tell a man how to speak to his wife in his own home under this biblical patriarchy? And so she said yes, and kind of left it there. Whereas, as she's explaining now, I believe in a biblical patriarchy. So if you're not acting in accordance with the Bible, then that's not biblical patriarchy, and therefore, which I assume that she would say about Crowder, and so therefore it's it is okay for her to have an opinion on it. Harley Rose. So I think it depends on what the women are leading. Army on the front line? No, women. Oh, we're talking about the draft? Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely think there's so much that when we're talking about service guarantee citizenship, there's so much that women and not very active men, older men, not 35 yet, but I'm getting there. There's a lot that can be done before we're talking about infantry front lines. The Funkmaster General said, 2 things I learned as a kid at church was how to unhook a bra and look cool smoking a cigarette. That's all it's good for, right? Yeah. Well, you can say that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
With the way Christ treats his bride, the church, then that's actually not biblical patriarchy.
I'm going to shockingly disagree with this take.
Go for it.
Which might surprise a lot of people because everybody knows I'm an Orthodox Christian. I'm pretty serious about that.
Again, this is Andrew Wilson's wife.
But you guys might not know there was a
Third wife,
huge amount
single mom before that.
of membership in anti-suffrage groups. The anti-suffragists were far more popular than suffragists. Women did not want suffrage. Very few people know that, like, less than 4%, according to all of the referendums that they did at the time, women did not want it. And if you take a look at the arguments that women made for why they didn't want suffrage, why they didn't want women's liberation, they said, you're charging us with something we cannot do. So we cannot rule society. We cannot defend persons and property, which is supposed to be the primary role of government.
Based.
To defend persons and property. If women can't do that, why give us political power? Why give us voting rights? Then we might have to get drafted. We might have to show up for jury duty, things like that.
No.
So I think to say, well, we'll let the men rule as long as they're doing it in a way that we feel is Christian or things like that is kind of beside the point, because women only have an illusion of authority right now, basically. Like if it comes down to it. So men have the monopoly on force. There's no way around that. Even if you talk about, oh, well, there's women senators or there's women presidents or there's females in the military now. At the end of the day, the people who enforce any illusion of rights, women's rights or otherwise, are going to be men. Period. End of story. Nothing you can do about that.
All right. Well, it's a great show, guys. Thanks for coming. No, I'm just kidding. Sibby said DEI hires ruin everything. Kinda like communism. Yup.
So to say, oh, women have equal rights, they have equal rights that they have to appeal to men to enforce on their behalf. So is that actually equal? So I'm just saying, like, to have this idea that, well, we'll let the men be in charge. The men are in charge. Right now, what's been happening is they've allowed women's liberation, and we can talk about who and why.
Okay.
So you're saying that at any point, if like the majority of men in government were like, yeah, women, you're done. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah,
We wouldn't really be able to do much about it. I don't disagree, but
if tomorrow they went, we've had enough of this little experiment, hasn't gone so well. I think this women's rights stuff is over, and no more voting for you. And you're gonna mostly be at home. If you have young children and you're a mother, you're going to be at home raising them. You're not going to be, trying to be a CEO.
And they'll all be like, thank God. Who? I already went on that rant.
That what would women do about that? Get mad, cry a little bit, yell. I mean, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I feel like politically, women certainly have a lot of power. There are a lot of guys online who refer to our current Western society as gynocentrism. Mm-hmm. But I think I see what you're saying in that because men typically are the aggressive force. If they decided to, they could stop it, and women couldn't.
Right.
So
So it's basically just male feminists who are like, you let the women do what they want.
I guess I'm imagining a scenario where if a bunch of, say, like Republicans came out and said, no more 19th Amendment, you would have a bunch of women saying, how dare you, we won't allow this. But I suppose the argument then is the only reason that move from a Republican would be blocked is that Democrat men would block them.
Well, that's how we got the 19th Amendment. It was actually like Gilded Age industrialist progressives, the same guys who met at the Jekyll Island Club in 1910 to draft the Federal Reserve Act, the same guys who wanted the income tax, had a vested interest in getting women out of the home and into the workforce and making them politically active.
But why is that? What was their interest?
Well, a couple of reasons. The first interest is if you're going to do an income tax, you can only tax the men's wages. Well, imagine if you can double that by getting all the women into the workforce and taxing their wages. So that's one.
Yup.
Two
double
is,
the wages.
A lot of these guys wanted this blend of socialism and capitalism that we have right now, this kind of hybrid system. And there was a lot of anti-suffrage groups that had posters, pamphlets, encyclicals. They even did debates against suffragists where they said,
we don't want this. We don't want this. Women did not want this overwhelmingly.
A vote for women is a vote for socialism because the Bolsheviks in Russia were saying, we're never going to have full communism. We're never going to have true socialism unless we get women involved, give them the vote, make them workers, make them see themselves as labor units rather than mothers. So this was kind of the plan.
Well, it worked. It worked. That is sad to hear it so succinctly and be like, oh, damn, they did that. Good job. Brenda says there was some ridiculous Polish show about a women-run society, and the whole thing was batshit insane and unrealistic. No, really? Remember living in squalor while chicks had this futuristic modern society. I don't know why I didn't expect that sentence to go there. I don't know why I didn't expect that sentence to go there. All right, let's get to the end of her thought here and then head over to the after party. I can't be up too late, but I want to hang out with y'all. Again, guys, if you are not a member, join as a member. And it's only $2.99 a month. It starts there. You can become a true disciple or a true God daddy if you want. But it starts at $2.99 and it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. We are in Discord 24/7. I mean, I'm in there 24/7. A bunch of people are as well. You should come and join us. And again, as soon as we are done here, if you are a channel member, you get full access of the free server and the paid server as well, including the voice channel where we are gonna hang out. Don't gotta worry about the YouTube censors. You're not in the chat stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. You can cam up if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it is a good old time. Come and join us.
So that's kind of how we ended up with the system we have now. So they wanted to dual income tax. They wanted women in the workforce. What's the other big benefit of that? Where do the kids go all day? If mom and dad are both at work, they have to go somewhere. Oh, we magically get the compulsory education system right along this same time frame. So the kids are being indoctrinated with whatever values the government and the Department of Education want to bestow on them. So, and then the other big obvious one is cheap wages. If you were JP Morgan or a Cornelius Vanderbilt or a Rockefeller or a Ford, and you have these huge factories and you need lots of cheap labor, you can only import so many immigrants. Better idea, take the women who are going to work for a lower wage.
Thank you for being here, Popcorn Account.
Put them in the factories, which is exactly what we saw happen. So
I suppose with industrialization, you immediately let me pause. Go back before industrialization. Conscription became okay. I got to slow down. Obviously, conscription's been around forever. Guys were forced to fight, but it became substantially more viable to have a conscripted class when, like breech loaders, muskets, and more easily loadable weapons became prominent.
Yeah,
it used to be back in the ancient days. You had a warrior class, men who were born from the day they were born, every day trained to be fighters. And they said these guys are going to be the fighters who defend this nation. And they had spears, but then all of a sudden they were like, "This is a gun. You point it, you pull the trigger, it works." All of a sudden, they were like, we could take literally anybody, hand them this, and they can fight on equal. So all of a sudden, I was reading about.
So switch from, a warrior class to just anybody can do this, fall in line, just do what you're told, and kill the people we tell you to kill. So I think this is a really interesting conversation. It covered a lot of different things. This is probably going to be the next stream that I clip up. Even though I'm not doing those as much because I'm going to be doing more lives. I was live yesterday. I'm 99% sure I'm going to go live tomorrow. I'm also going to be doing more of the vertical stream so you can watch from your shorts feed. And we should hopefully get some more new people in here. Not that I don't love all of you, but we got to keep growing the community if we're going to do what we're going to do. It's guys, hanging out with you is my favorite part of the week. But if we're all just having fun, I don't know how much is going to get done. And see, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. We got to get shit done. We got to get shit done. And what that needs is people here watching, people here bringing, engagement, bringing money into this movement. We have something here, guys. I have something here. I'm willing to bring you into what I have something here. And that means we have something here. And if we can keep it going, we will fix America. It's a tall order. But trust me, I got this. Let's shout out to all the donations. Shout out to Funk Master General. We had Quantec with the 5. We had Funk Master with 5 gifted memberships. Tom Brokaw, no question, no comment. Pure love of the game. And then again, we had over on Rumble, we had our boy Zippy, the Assembly with the 2 Rumble rants, and of course, Indie Film with the $5. Gonna make ya holla. Thank you. Oh, wait, okay. And of course, our sponsor of the stream, the Funk Master General, co-sponsored with Indie Film. Guys, thank you. Thank you so very, very much. I really do appreciate you. And if you're in the replay gang, you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going live a lot more often and not on a regular schedule. We will always be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. But whenever else I feel like it, I've been saying it since the beginning. So hit the subscribe, ring the bell, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so very much. Once again, I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.